just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Camille Smith. And welcome, folks. I know. You're wondering, where was I last week? I was not mentally there to have a conversation with you guys. Because if you know, it's been 5 years since my mom. So I just decided to take a break. But I was like, oh my gosh, it's financial literacy month in the States. And, I thought that I would bring on a wonderful guest to show the Americans, especially, that we still cater to you guys and all that great stuff. And I was very intrigued with his name of his podcast. So please let me introduce Jason Moore. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
How's it going?
Great.
Awesome. And I'm glad that we were able to have a little discussion offline before and just be able to get a better understanding of each other. And I did was able to listen to your podcast and everything. So it's an honor that I was able to listen to it with a lovely voice like yourself.
Thank you.
So welcome, Jason. Could you just tell the folks who you are just so they can get a better um, understanding of you?
Sure. So my name is Jason Moore, as you mentioned. The podcast Money Mixology is kind of that play on words. So I am actually a CFP, Certified Financial Planner. I've been in financial planning for, man, I don't know, 25 years or something, and I'm also a CFT, which is Certified Financial Therapist. So that's where kind of the money mixology thing came from, was that blending of where your psychology interacts and interplays with your financial decision making and how much they really are dependent on each other. And so I think that was the entire point of the podcast, is talking through that, is helping people understand where their psychology is doing them some good service and doing them some disservice. So I appreciate you having me on. This will be fun.
Yeah, and you know what really intrigued me? Better yet, the money mixologist was very intriguing as well. But it was also like I'm pretty sure you've read the book, The Psychology of Money.
Morgan
I've
Housel. Mhm.
I've definitely think that a lot of folks have, as much as they have this love hate with money, it's like being able to understand the psychology of money or understanding the behavior of folks really is able to capture how to deal with people's behavior. And what like inspired you to get into that field exactly?
Yeah, so two really specific touchstones in my journey to this point. So the first one was I've been teaching at the university. I teach at Wright State University in Ohio, and so I've been
Nice.
teaching here for 11 or 12 years in the financial area. And it was always a little strange to me because I teach the personal finance. It's one of the biggest courses I teach, and
Yeah.
I would have a lot of students who would graduate and they would come out of the gates just gangbusters. I mean, they would take the stuff that we taught them and they would do wonderful things. And they were buying houses a couple years out of college. They were paying off their debts. I mean, it was just all the really wonderful things we love to see. And then you had others who weren't, they were stumbling out of the gates a little bit. And it was always strange to me because they're learning the same information. They're sitting in the same classroom. Like, it's not a knowledge problem. Like, so what exactly is going on here that
Mm.
two people can hear the same information have the same grades in the class, et cetera, but yet not get over the hurdle at the same rate or get on the same path. And so that one always threw me off a little bit. And I kind of tried to work my way through it. And then the second part that was much more personal. So my wife was raised very, very poor. And so when we got married, I'm sorry, in addition to being poor, she was also raised in I won't use a derogatory term, but a very, very, very strict religion.
Okay.
Uh, and it did not allow holidays, birthdays, nothing.
I think I
And
know
so
that.
when we got married,
Mhm.
well, I mean, she left that church when she was late teens. But when we got married, I found it interesting because she was like obsessed with Christmas, like way more than even Americans. I know we tend to be very obsessed with Christmas, but like she was way way over the top, and I just sort of found it humorous. But then I started digging into it, and it was really really fascinating to me personally as a financial planner, the difference between the way her and I viewed money situations simply based on our history, right? I was raised with money. I had a family that taught me money, and we were sort of upper middle class. And she was raised very, very poor with this religious background as well.
Yeah.
And so that whole thing just really, really was fascinating to me about how two humans living in the same household, looking at the same conditions, same circumstances, would just view it so entirely differently.
Wow. And you know what? You bring me back to, so during February, obviously it's like Valentine's Day,
Sure.
family day for us. It's always, I had like a discussion where it was like the different individuals that are coming together, and it's just having instead of having like the love language, there was a money language as well, and just being able to decipher that. But just thinking about that, do you think that there's some money habits that individuals have that should be, that are great, or should just be like, we let's separate each our
Yeah.
habits?
So I think that I think here, I believe shortly we'll be touching on some of the positive behaviors. I would say a couple
Yes.
of the behaviors that are potentially a little problematic, that definitely stem from the psychology side. So the first one would be when people fail to understand their emotional triggers,
Mm,
because we use money in many cases as sort of a solve to something's going on. I'm stressed, or I'm having issues at work,
yeah.
or whatever the case is. We attempt to use money to solve that, so it becomes the band-aid instead of actually fixing the real problem. Excuse me. And so we have all these triggers.
Hmm.
It's I always on my show, I like to use the correlation between money and nutrition because I think they have the same kind of concepts.
Hmm.
And one of the things is, people joke about like you should never go to the grocery store when you're hungry, right? Because you'll end up spending more money. And
So true.
it's the same thing. Like if you've had a really bad day at work, or you've had something going on with your partner, spouse, or whatever, like going to the mall or something like that is a really bad idea just in general, right? Because you're going to use the retail therapy to try to solve that. And so you not knowing your own triggers can be really problematic. The other part that I think most people do not have, and they really should, is what we call the cooling off periods. So
Hmm.
everybody should be establishing for themselves, and it's going to be very context driven to your personal circumstance, how much money you make, all that kind of stuff. But
Of course.
you should have very, very clear parameters about what kind of purchases you can make, and with what kind of timing. So what I mean by that is, I'll just make up numbers for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's say based on my income level, I think that any purchase less than $50, assuming it's not just a completely insane purchase, but like a normal purchase under $50, I can just make, and my wife can make kind of on the spot, no worries, no hassle.
True.
But anything over 50 up to, say, I don't know, 500, let's just use a number,
Hmm.
you have to wait 24 hours, or you got to come home, you got to
Ooh,
cool off, and you got to wait 24 hours.
okay.
Anything over $500, you must come home, have an actual discussion with your partner, and wait a
Mhm.
week, right? Or whatever, again, whatever parameters you want to set for yourself. Giving yourself those strict purchasing things, because it will completely remove impulse purchasing from your sphere of influence. And so and it will allow you to be far, far better at evaluating purchases on, do I actually want/need this, or
Or
was
is
I
it a
just in the
trigger?
moment? Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah.
And
Or is there
that's
even a
the
better alternative? Even if you do still want it, right? There
Mhm.
could be better alternatives than the one store you happen to be standing in.
Yeah,
So,
and that's interesting. Ooh, question. So does it matter whether it's a joint account or they're separate accounts? Do they still have that discussion?
oh, for like the cooling off period?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be um, that may depend on how you're using those joint accounts.
Yes.
So, or I
Absolutely.
guess if you have separate accounts, so it may depend. A lot of times when I see separate accounts from, let's say, spouses, it's
Mm-hmm.
typically, at every month you have to give me so much to put towards the mortgage and
Yes.
whatever. So we still have some sort of a combined package. We just have our own accounts.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then I still think the conversation makes some sense. But that's very, very much a conversation the couples need to have to say,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about me spending, I'll say my money, whatever you want to call that, in my own account?
Mm-hmm.
What's your feeling on that? Is it something that we should discuss, since ultimately we are still a partnership in some way?
True.
The other partner may be totally fine with it. They may say, no, that's your money. As long as every month you put enough into the common account, or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm okay with whatever you do with your money. It doesn't matter. But so I think that would be very context driven. But even
Yes.
if that's the case, you still have to have those requirements for yourself, right? Regardless of whether there's a spouse or a partner involved at all. Even if you're single, you should still have your own set of rules as to when I will purchase things, or in this case, do a cooling off period.
Agree. I agree. I agree. I like the 24 hours, and I think it's normally like the 72 hours, but it
Sure.
yeah, it depends on what works with the individual or the couple. Um so that's intriguing. And then sorry, that I had to ask that question
No.
because it was just interesting that you and your wife had a different mindset on money, and
Mm-hmm.
you're able to have that intriguing moment. And I guess when you notice that your students like were either the finance gurus or the ones that were the can I say delinquent today? Let's say that today.
The challenged.
Challenged. um which ones would you draw to like whether you're educating them still, the gurus, because still they need education, right? Or
Mhm.
the ones that were challenged that you wanted to hold their hand just a little bit more?
I would say I've had equal parts reach out to me over the years. So,
Okay.
which has been interesting, because I think that the ones who came out as superstars and kind of got off and running really strongly,
Mm,
they actually recognized that there was still value in validation to what they were trying to do, right? So, like, I would have somebody who had done all the right things out of college, built their credit score, built up their reserve fund, done these things, and they were getting ready to buy their first house, and they just wanted
mm,
someone to bounce ideas off of, just to make sure they weren't missing something, right? So they
true.
were actually like humble and intelligent enough to realize, I kind of remember what he talked about, but it's been four or
Mhm.
5 years, and I need to just make sure I'm understanding this. So I think you had some of those.
Yeah.
And then I've had also probably a fair share who come back after college a couple years later, and they're
Mhm.
basically, it's like, I know I screwed up. I know I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to do, but I think I'm ready to do that. Can you please help get me back on the right path? So I've probably had, again, I don't know what the exact numbers are. I mean, I've taught, I don't know, thousands of students at this point, but
Yeah.
it's probably equal parts.
Okay. And that's very ideal because yeah, sometimes you want to bounce in ideas off just to have a better understanding. And I think ooh, is that what encouraged you to become an author? And just like for the ones that you were scared to ask for those bouncing off, did that encourage you to become an author to because you have
Yeah.
2
So
books, correct?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say three things really drove me to be an author,
Mhm.
and excuse me, specific to the second book, which is called Crazy Money, kind of what the topic we're talking about today.
Yes.
First one's about career, getting your ideal career. It's not really based on finance, but the one you're referring to, Crazy Money. So there's a couple of things. One, my daughter is actually, she's won the Young Authors Award a number of times for our state. She's a very good writer. And I sort of wanted, as like that dad thing, I kind of wanted to show her, like, you can take this a lot farther. Like, you can do
Mhm.
more if you really want to. And she was like, well, I could never be an author. I'm like, why? It's not that hard. Like, you can do it if you want to. And so that was a big piece of it for me, was just showing my daughter what could be done.
Yeah.
But also, yes, the students that were the ones who were struggling a little bit, they were very much a driver, because I thought, hey, this is something they can take with them.
Yeah.
Um, and then also the final part was, I do a lot of live presentations. I do dozens and dozens a year, and
Mhm.
on this topic basically. And people, within a 45-minute conversation or an hour or whatever it is, just like today,
Mhm.
there's only so much of this I can get out, and so much they want, and it's typically a topic people are really interested in.
Yeah.
So the book was like, here, you can just take this with you, and kind of get a little more detail. You mentioned Psychology of Money, which is Morgan Housel's book.
Mhm.
His book is very good. I mean, it really is sort of the gold standard of the industry.
Yes.
I wish I had sold as many as he has, but
In
the
due time.
yeah, but the reality is that Morgan's book is, in my humble opinion, still too clinical. It is
Oh,
very
okay.
much like talking about the science, and for me, it doesn't get to the heart of like what you can do. It's not enough action based for me. And
Okay.
so I wanted my book to be less sort of academic and
Mhm.
more like, this is practical, everyday kind of things you can do in your life, and ways to fix some of these psychology issues. So
Nice.
it's very similar to Morgan in terms of topic and conversation, but very, very different in approach. But I love his book, just it's a
Mhm.
different purpose.
And I'm glad you said that, because I know when it comes to we know, you and I know that when it comes to personal finance, everyone think "wah, wah, wah," boring, right?
Yep.
And I'm glad that you were able to make it more practical and have it more, digestible, since we're talking about nutrition,
You're
and
right.
be able to have a better understanding. And is that, like, what made you think more about not just numbers, but behavior of financial planning?
Yeah, I mean, that is, I think, the natural sort of evolution of where our field is going.
Yes.
And so, um, you know, I teach the personal finance class, which is mostly freshmen and sophomores, 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Nice.
I also
Best
teach
age.
a huge portion of the CFP curriculum. So I
Mm,
teach the insurance, retirement planning, estate planning, et cetera.
mhm.
And those are all my juniors and seniors that are going to be planners.
Okay, yes.
And I have been harping on them that, effectively AI is going to do all of the math for you, right? Or some version of it. And so while
Mm,
you have to know that stuff, I mean, you still have to know your material, you have to be a content expert in what you do for a living. That's not where you're going to make your money anymore. I mean, if somebody just wants to know how car insurance works, they can type it
Google
to,
it.
ChatGPT and get 9,000 results. So it's much more important that they are able to start to understand the psychology and the behavior stuff, because ultimately the hill I will die on as a planner is that your habits daily, your daily behaviors and habits, are what make you wealthy. It is not your knowledge of money. It never has been, and it never will be. It's a matter of, will you continue to systematically do the right things with the money? I mean, you could be a brilliant person and go, oh, I know exactly how a mutual fund works. Yeah, but do you put any money in one? Because if you don't, it doesn't matter, right? So I think that's the part that as I've gotten older and older, I'm just so passionately driven to be like, I mean, it's not that you doesn't matter if you know that stuff. You should still want to know it,
Exactly.
but it's far more important that you activate it, that you go do something with it.
Execution is
Yeah.
key. Like, I totally agree with that, because, like, as of late, especially with the economy,
That's our
I've
fault.
been
That's our
I've been slightly under a rock, because it is tax seasons here too. I know you guys finish in a couple days,
Mhm.
but we finish at the end. So it's been something. I've
Yeah.
been living off water and coffee, but like, just seeing, like, whether it's job losses, because it's happening here, whether it's the good old stock market going up and down
Mm.
like a roller coaster. Um, I've been trying to help people understand the mindset of also because some people I've noticed a lot of people have lost their um I don't want to say joy. The way that they treat like their money habits or their relationship with money, I have to like remind them that you have to have a positive outlook of it, or there's gonna be a time when your back is against the wall and you feel like you're failing at every moment, right?
Yeah, and I think that part of the difficulty is that for most people, even those of us who believe in the system and believe in doing the right thing with our money,
Mhm.
we are still captive to the current moment to some extent, right? And
Yes,
so
yes.
when you could be doing all the right things with your money, and candidly, the stock market could actually be doing decent. It's not right now, but it could even be doing decent. And if gas prices are increasing and groceries are increasing, that's what you feel every day,
Yes.
right? And so that may not be I mean, I guess it is real that they're going up, but it may not be the reality that your financial life is deteriorating, because if you're putting a bunch of money into the retirement accounts and you're growing your wealth, it's not. You're going in the right direction. But
Exactly.
if your weekly grocery bill is much higher, it feels bad by definition. And so that tends to be how we perceive our entire financial life,
Yeah.
right? Which is a weird thing. I mean, if you're somebody who has, let's say, a little bit more wealth, you've got six or $700,000 in your retirement accounts, and they drop by, you know, 5% in, over the course of a couple of months, you lost $35,000. You don't even pay any attention to that. Most people genuinely are like, whatever, that's for retirement. I'll just kind of let it, just let it do its thing. And yet
Exactly.
when you spend an extra $15 at the grocery store, you're like super upset about it, right? Like, so we're just creatures that are captive to the current moment. And that's just, I mean, I understand that. I mean, I get
Yeah.
it. Retirement's way out in the future. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
so it definitely impacts us at a far higher level than it probably should.
Yeah, and you're totally right because there's, what I think one of my friends showed, grapes, $13 a pound, and I was like, "Absolutely not."
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I barely love my children that much. I'm not paying $13 a pound for anything. That's crazy.
Like, just thinking about that and, like, I'm not sure, like, with your taxes, like, our government recently changed, like, our GST, HST to, Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit, and I think people are just laughing at it because they're looking at it ideally, you'd be able to get 600 for the year, and then some people are like, "Oh, great, what am I gonna do? Get a bag of chips?
Yeah,
Woo!"
well, that takes care of January. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly, and I'm
right.
like,
Yeah,
granted, it's, like, quarterly that you receive this money, but they're they're trying to do their best with helping, but I do see that people are very stressed in the present time and not really looking out for the 20, 30 odd years that the potential that they're able to do. And I'm not sure. Have you dealt with, because like there's a factor of I want to give hope to us millennials or Gen Zs because it's wild. Like with when it comes to retiring
Mhm.
in 30, 40 years, have you seen any retirees actually been able to like maximize on the delayed gratifications that they did like in their early years?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm almost 50, so I'm actually getting closer to retirement. And my
Mhm.
parents and some of my good friends are retired. And
Yes.
so, yes, I've got, I mean, I've been doing this long enough. I have lots of clients who have hit the retirement milestone. And what I will tell you, and this is probably, if you're asking for good news or a good message for people to feel a little better, this is probably the best news I can give them
Mhm.
is almost everybody I've ever worked with that has hit the retirement milestone actually
Mhm.
retired with too much money. And so I can use my parents as an example. I've had a number of conversations with my father, and he continued to work a job that it was okay. It's not that he didn't like it; he was just kind of ambivalent to it for the last few years, and so he continued to work for probably an extra, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, because he was trying to hit this sort of magic number in the sky that him and his
Mhm.
planner had put together. And when he hit that number, he was finally ready, and then he retired. And my parents have not used $1 from their retirement accounts the entire time they've been retired, because their
Wow.
house was paid off, their cars were
Mhm.
paid off, et cetera, et cetera. And he made enough money that his here for us, the Social Security,
Yes.
was high enough that they've been able to live off just that. And so his comment has been, I should have retired earlier, because he was like, I worked longer than I needed to. And
Yeah.
keeping in mind that because of the power of the compound growth, those last couple years of money that you put in really don't even matter much, right? I mean, you're just kind of throwing pennies on top of the dollar stack. And so um, I would tell everybody out there that I know I'll probably be one of the only planners you ever have on your show who says this, but you actually need less than you think you do. And so the target's not as high in the sky as you believe it to be, which is a good thing. It
Mhm.
should give you some relief, that you don't have to quite aim for this just monumental amount that you think you do, which is hopefully is good news for people.
That is very interesting because most times we all have this number, like, sometimes I say the FU number
Yeah,
just to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
to be
yeah,
able
yeah, yeah,
to skedaddle, and
yeah.
just like ideally mine's 5 million.
Oh,
And I know I'm being, but this, I was actually reading the Tony Robbins book again, Money Master the Game. I'm probably butchering the full name, but Tony Robbins,
yeah,
Money
natural one.
Master.
Yeah.
So, the reason why it's 5 million is because I want to help others at the same time. And that's the extreme number. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
the basic one, right?
It's not your retirement.
Exactly. So
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
retirement plus helping others and things. So 5 million, but I know for sure once I reach that amount, the dividends that I have and all that great stuff will just be making me flourish.
I mean, you just in a general sense, right? 4% is our typical withdrawal rate, is what we would
Yep,
consider it to be in most cases. So you're looking at 200 grand a year of,
exactly.
probably tax. Well, I don't know your guys' codes as well up there. I apologize, but
No worries.
here we could do 4% tax free, with municipal bonds, and so you'd
Hmm.
have $200,000 of tax free income, but that's
Mhm.
on top of your
The
Social Security
social,
and all this
yep.
other stuff, and taking into account that the definite, in almost every circumstance, if you've had good planning, your house and cars and all that stuff are all paid off. And so
Correct.
your expenses have dropped to normally about 50% ish, 50
Hmm.
to 60%, during retirement. And yet your income, and you're making up most of your Social Security. So that 5 million is probably going to be, I understand you're doing it for completely different reasons, but it would be an unnecessary amount. I have made a very distinct adjustment to my own retirement accounts in the last couple of years, or not my
Hmm.
retirement accounts, my retirement target,
Yes.
based on the fact that my friends and my dad and all these people that are retiring are like, Jason, you don't need to go as far as you say you do. You can stop
That's right.
earlier.
Hmm.
So, which, is heartening in some ways. At
And
least I hope.
that's and I'm hoping that, there's many that hear this and are able to experience that, because for the most part, I know, like, individuals that are in the government, teachers, nurses, who else? Anyone public servant, in a
Sure.
sense, they have like the pension, so they
Yeah, it's
essentially don't have to worry, unless it's the folks that are not in that lucky circumstance and have to actually a little bit fend for themselves. And I think a lot of people are having a tricky hard time actually understanding that you if you don't have a pension at work, you do have to fund your 401k for you guys and our RSP for us.
Mhm.
And how are you able to encourage individuals, because there's so much back talk when it comes to our I'll say RSP, because I know the 401k is the equivalent, but how are you able to give a positive indication of what you'll experience in the future when it comes to your 401k?
Yeah, so I actually, this is sort of a funny question you asked because I don't know how this happened, but I have
Mhm.
uh, become, I don't know, the go-to person in where I live for companies to call me in
Yes.
and present to their employees about why they should be in the 401k. And
Yes.
what's what's always interesting, and this goes directly to our psychology conversation. I start those conversations by saying, "Hey, show of hands, how many people here know you should be putting money in a 401k?"
Mhm.
And every single hand in the room will go up.
Yes.
And I'll say, "So this isn't. I don't need to convince you that the 401k is a good idea. You already know that. This isn't a knowledge problem." So
Correct.
what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you why you are not doing it. I'm going to tell you
Mm.
specifically what the psychological barriers are as to why you're not doing it. And I go through, there's a few different psychology biases, behavioral biases
Yes.
that typically prevent people from getting involved in something like this. And once I explain that to them, they kind of chuckle because they recognize themselves when I say these things. It's like
Mhm.
the status quo bias and some of this other stuff. And we talk through it, and they're kind of laughing about it because they're like, "Yeah, that's me. I'm definitely doing that kind of thing."
Yes.
And so I had an example of one company here in Dayton that have 110 employees, and when I showed up, they had 13 people that were participating in the retirement plan.
Wow.
And the day I did the presentation, like something like 36 or 38 or something people signed up on the spot. Now, I can't swear they all stayed, to be perfectly candid. I mean, I'm sure there was some fall off at some point, but the idea that you could get that many people to change their mind really quickly, because it goes back to the fact that it's not about knowledge. This is all a behavior game. And as soon as you can master the behavior and your way of thinking about money, the
Yes.
rest of it becomes really easy.
Okay. And what were the top 3 out of the 8 that you mentioned?
Reasons that people aren't doing it, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first one, this one I particularly knew the audience I was presenting to. So just to be
Sure.
fair,
Yes.
was poverty mindset.
Okay.
So a lot of them had come from backgrounds of poverty and tough circumstances. When that happens, you have a mistrust of investment vehicles because those
Mhm.
are what wealthy white people use, and so you have a mistrust of them. We have to help you kind of get past that point because we have to, because the second thing will kick in very, very strongly, which is imposter syndrome. So if you don't view yourself as an investor and can't ever see yourself as doing that, then there's no way you're ever going to participate in it, right? And so
Mm.
trying to get people to understand it, one of the tricks I use there, so this hopefully would be helpful for your listeners, is the story I always tell. If you saw a lady, you're driving your car down the street and you see a lady on the sidewalk and she's got her earbuds in,
Mhm.
she's got her running shoes on, and she is jogging down the street, the first thing you would think is that's a runner, right? You would identify her as that, but you
Yes.
have absolutely no idea if she's a runner. That could be the first time she's ever done that in her life. She could
Very true.
be being chased by a bear. Like, you have no idea why she's running,
Yes.
but you're identifying her as a runner. Well, what makes you an investor is not this idea that you are or are not. The
Mhm.
simple thing is, do you put money in a retirement account, that, or an investment of some sort?
Correct.
That's what makes you an investor by definition.
That is
And
very
so
true.
getting people to understand, I mean, I have, multiple master's degrees in finance, and I teach it, and CFP and all this other nonsense that, letters in my name, all this other stuff. And yet that doesn't make me an investor. It makes me kind of understand it. But what
Mhm.
makes me an investor is the first dollar I ever put in an IRA and the money I continue to put in. That's what makes me an investor. So
Exactly.
having people understand that, that you can become this thing in the future, overcome imposter syndrome was a huge piece of it. And then there's just status quo bias. People are lazy. We talked about this, like, and what I mean is mentally lazy.
Yes.
We don't like change. We don't want to have to make action, and so it's why the 401k or RSP in your case works so incredibly well, is because once you do set it up, then you
Yes.
can be lazy. Just forget it, right? Like, and it'll just
Set
do
it
its
and
thing,
forget it.
right? Set it and
Yes.
forget it, right? And so, you can use the status quo to your advantage in that particular case. The other piece that, if you, and I don't know the exact demographic of your viewers, but
Mhm.
one of the most powerful tools for people, especially to overcome imposter syndrome, is, do you want your children to see an investor? Do you want them to see somebody who knows and understands money? And
Mhm.
inevitably, every parent will say, of course I do. I said, then
True.
you have to become that person. Right. And that just that internal sort of fortitude to be like, all right, I may not know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it for my child. Right.
Yep.
Is very, very powerful.
That definitely is a way to encourage or push them to do better, especially because a lot of like my generation, millennials, they know, like, before they didn't get that opportunity to learn these financial literacy,
Mm,
right? So I see a lot of um friends that are parents that want to encourage their kids too, and also teach them what they didn't learn when
mhm.
they were growing up, so they're able to flourish. And that was like one of the things that my mom always said, like, if you can't teach the old folks, go for the younger ones,
Yeah, right.
because they will be able to not only teach their parents or grandparents, but also flourish in the future to come, like financial or generational wealth, right?
Sure.
So that's one thing. And I like your reasons because it's I think it shows people that are like, oh, are you talking to me? How did you know that that was actually what I was thinking, right? And man, maybe I should get a my psychology of money as well, just
Well,
to have a better understanding. Mhm.
yeah, I think what I would tell your viewers is that almost every human being, not almost, and literally, unless you are a, and I mean clinical psychopath, so like unless you have psychopathy, if
Mhm.
you are a normal human being,
Yes.
you are going to have very irrational behaviors. The power in understanding psychology is that those irrational behaviors are predictable.
Okay.
So they're irrational, but they're very predictable, very repeatable. That's why we're able to study these things. So when somebody says, I'm doing XYZ with my money, I'm like, yes, we know that. Like we all like we've seen that 1,000 times. You're not alone. And that's important for people to understand, is that these mistakes you may have made in the past, or these sometimes challenging thoughts that you're having towards money, I promise you, you're not alone. There's a
Correct.
reason we have an entire field of study about this, because it is predictable. And so we can help you, because if we know all these people have the same problem, then we know how we fixed it for other people, which means
True.
we have an ability to help you fix it as well.
Ooh, hopefully someone hears that message, because ideally, yes, like, even a person like myself has some irrational behaviors at times. Like, sometimes my stomach takes control of the wallet.
That's right. Yeah, right. Go to
Like,
the grocery store hungry, right?
which is the worst thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, you know what? I could go for that, or just like a night when you're like, I don't care. I just want this craving. I will not stop until this craving is
Yeah.
satisfied. And sometimes half the time the food is not even up to par. So you're really upset,
Double
right?
disappointed. Yeah, I spent money. I don't even like this. Well, I think it is. I'm very, very open on the on my podcast that, like,
Yeah,
I'm not immune to any of this stuff either by any stretch of the imagination. I
because
make
we're
all these
humans.
same mistakes. Again, every human being does. No one's
Exactly.
immune to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The advantage that I perhaps have over some others
Mm-hmm.
is that I'm able to recognize it because I've been trained
So.
in this area. And so, and but that's something that everyone can do, right? Is to
Mm-hmm.
begin to learn your own triggers, your own study, your own history, your own, and by history I mean your money history, your family upbringing, cultural backgrounds, the community you were raised in, all that kind of stuff, so that you understand how you personally view money, interact with money, treat money. As you do that, you will become stronger equipped, not have these irrational behaviors, but to defeat them,
Yeah.
to predict them, to put some things in place to know I can't, we talked about the like not going shopping when you're upset. If you have a fight with your partner, you have to know, don't go to the stores right now, go for a walk or something like that.
Yeah.
So just doing those kind of things will allow you to take control of the situation. You'll never stop being irrational. We're just built that way, unfortunately. But we can be better at managing it.
I I actually really love that. Learn your own money triggers. I feel like a person like myself and most likely you is self-aware of those triggers, so you're able to go cold turkey or defeat the money beast, if you would say,
Yeah.
just to be able to overcome that. And maybe it's just that week you overcome it, right? But at least that a win is a win, as I would say, right?
Yeah.
But
Stack them.
like if you continuously are able to have those wins, you'll just see like later on in life, it's you'll be okay, right?
Well, and I think that every time you're able to, we'll use the word overcome, it's probably more effectively like manage around. But if you're able
Hmm.
to overcome those triggers
Hmm.
that you know are problematic for you, each time you do that, you begin to build up a lot of internal strength,
Yeah.
psychological strength, because you know, hey, I've been through, let's just say, I've been through a breakup or something, and I've done it before, and I did not implode my finances. I was able to manage my way through that. So you start to build up some internal fortitude and
Yes.
some internal resolve. And I think that's really, really important. And you find the healthier sort of outlets for some of the stress and pressures and things like that, and you stop, viewing the money as the answer to the, where it becomes your therapist, basically. And so,
Like retail
eh,
therapy.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I do think it can be really powerful. And like, if you go, like, you go shopping for a new car or something, and that, I mean, there is every single piece of buying a car is
Hmm.
designed by financial psychologists like myself. We know how to get you to buy things you're not supposed to buy. We know the triggers. So every
Yeah.
time you go shopping for a car and you come home without a car, you have begun to build internal strength to say, I don't fall for their games anymore, right? I'm in control of this situation. So just piece by piece by piece, and you may make a mistake. You may go 3 weeks being really good, and then 1 week you fall for a trigger. That's okay. You were still 3 out of 4. And every single time you build,
True.
you get stronger and stronger. So that's the whole point. When you think about it from a behavioral perspective, it's
Hmm.
just like going to the gym or eating healthy or anything else. If you just consistently do it, just as much as you can. You may make mistakes. That's okay. We'll have an ice cream cone here or there. But, as we move forward, if we get stronger and stronger, we'll
Yeah.
make better and better decisions, and it will get easier. Right? It'll
Hmm.
just get easier to make because you're like, no, I got this. This is not a problem. I'm not going to fall for their nonsense.
Yeah. Like, oh, I remember this trigger
Yeah.
last month or the last quarter and everything.
Yep.
And I mean, we've talked about money triggers, talked about reasons why individuals don't use 401ks or RSPs. What is another financial myth that you've been able to understand or be aware of and been able to unbuke it or
Yeah. So I think that
unbunk it?
I'm
Sorry.
not sure that this would be necessarily as purely a psychology thing, but I would
Hmm.
say that at least here in the United States, I am sure that everybody on your viewership is aware of Dave Ramsey.
Yes.
And if you listen to any of my shows, I'm not a huge Dave Ramsey fan. And so I think there is a big myth, at least in the United States, that all debt is bad. And that's just
Mm.
that's complete
Hmm.
nonsense, just utter and total nonsense. Because if you do a survey of the wealthiest people in this country, they all have debt. It is a
Exactly.
tool that is, when you use leverage correctly, which is what debt is, it can be incredibly powerful. What I do agree with Dave Ramsey is when you have dumb debt, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
unsubstantiated credit card purchases, like, no, none of that nonsense. Stop doing that stuff. But you can use debt appropriately. Where I will say, that I'll throw this out there for your listeners, because I think it's an important process. If they are in need of paying off debt, which
Hmm.
is really where Ramsey sort of made his cake. But
Yes.
if you're in need of doing that, the idea of the eat ramen noodles and nothing else for a year and put every dollar towards the debt,
Golly.
it doesn't work. And I don't, it mathematically works. So I'm being clear for your listeners. It absolutely will mathematically work, but it actually doesn't work in the real world. And people who try, the best statistics we have available to us,
Mhm.
show that less than 1 in 5 people are successful with that process. It has a less than
Wow.
20% success rate.
Mhm.
And it's because of psychology. It's miserable, right? You're not going to do anything for that amount of time. At least most people aren't. That makes them miserable.
They're like
It's just, yeah, it's just stink. You just don't want
crying
to do it,
inside.
right? You're crying. Yeah, like I'm done with this ramen noodle nonsense. And so if you would like to, if your listeners would like to increase their odds of paying off, and I mean bad debt here, I'm not talking about mortgages and
Yes.
stuff. We're talking about bad debt. If
Mhm.
you're going to try to pay off a bad debt, you will increase your percentages up into the high 60s, maybe 70%,
Mhm.
if you do what's called the hybrid approach, which is
Hmm.
you take a chunk, let's just say you have $100 a month extra you can put towards it, whatever. Take, like, say $60 and put it towards the debt, and then take the other $40 or whatever seems appropriate and put it towards investments, savings, whatever. Because while that will slow down the debt payoff, and you will end up paying a little bit more interest, I want to be clear about that.
Mhm.
Mathematically, it's slightly worse. But what happens is that you look back like a year from now, and any debt payoff you have done is painful and miserable, and you don't enjoy it. But at the same time, you
Mhm.
now have money you have put towards the positive side. You feel
Correct.
good about what you've been able to do for your own future,
Yes.
and you'll stick with it. So that's really ultimately what changes, is the way we view it.
Mhm.
And so even though the math might not be necessarily perfectly in our favor, the fact that we will complete the process
Yeah.
is where we really gain the advantage. So you'll come out the other side with all the debt gone, but also with this,
Have.
whatever, this pot of money that you feel good about. So
Exactly.
I would just tell your listeners, the hybrid approach statistically is far superior for completion, not
Mhm.
mathematically, but for
Yes.
completion.
I like that you said that because I think I'm a believer of that as well. Not I believe. I am a believer of that. Like you can pay off your debt and save for a rainy day or
Hmm.
invest for a rainy day
Sure.
because um I'll give you example. Um what was it? 2022, I'll say. I bought a stock that was $2, right? And I was like, I could be paying off my debt, but I don't know. Like, I really have heard good things about this. I done my research and everything. That stock today, which I call my bay, my
my,
investment.
my investment boyfriend.
Exactly. AMD used to be number one, but then I told AMD like you're kind of on the
Yeah,
side.
yeah, put you in the
This
friendship
one
zone.
exactly. It at to this date, it's $27.
Wow.
So imagine if I didn't do it, and I will tell you this, that that bay got me on a trip last year. So
There
it
you go.
definitely pays to do both at the same time because I've paid off debt at the same time, but not being able to do both, my net what is it? My net worth wouldn't be the
What
way
it
it
is now.
is
Yeah.
exactly if I didn't invest at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's, again, this is where psychology is so incredibly powerful within the money world, because people need to understand, we should be clear here, that if you are paying off your debt aggressively,
Mhm. Yes.
that is making your net worth better. You are getting better, right? You're getting healthier and wealthier, but it doesn't feel that way, right? And that's just, I mean, unfortunately, I understand that other finance people around me are like, who cares how it feels, like you want to get the most money? I'm like, yes, but that's not how we live our lives. We
Exactly.
want to feel positive about the decisions we're making, about the progress we're making. And simply paying off past mistakes doesn't feel good. It's just a
Mhm.
miserable way to try to go about it. You can do it for a period of time. And if you think you could get it done in 2 or 3 months, you probably have the mental wherewithal to do that. But if this is something that's going to take you a number of years, you will not stick with it for that long. You just won't. I mean,
True.
statistically, you won't.
Yeah. Statistically, okay, so say someone's paying off debt, bad debt,
Hmm. Right.
for the next, and this is just a question I thought of. If it's gonna take them 5 years to pay it off, at what of the 5 years, at what year do you think there's like a good amount that like trickle off and just say, ah, this debt will be with me forever?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's what we find. most of the time with clients that have larger sums that are going to take a number of years to pay down, so they have large
Mhm.
credit card balance or something. What ends up happening is that they take that slow and steady, consistent approach, hybrid approach for a number of years. Let's say that it's your case, that's a
Mhm.
5-year plan.
Yeah.
And what will happen is they'll get to about year 3.5 or something, 4, whatever it is, and
Mhm.
they'll say, okay, I'm actually really close to having this debt paid off.
Yeah.
And I have also built up this big chunk of positive cash savings or investments or whatever you're doing.
Yes.
And they will find the internal fortitude to get super aggressive and pay the debt off, because they will
Ooh.
say, I've made so much progress and I'm so close that if I just kind of lock it in for a few months, I can just make this disappear. I can make this monster go away.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we see happen with mortgages. So people that have in the US, obviously we use 30-year mortgages most of the time.
Yeah.
And we encourage people to pay that off in 20 years or less. So we have to pay a little extra. And what
Mhm.
ends up happening is they get to about year, 15, 16, something like that. And
Yeah.
they realize, wow, if I just went like really, balls to it, I could basically be done in a year or a year and a half. And they're able, that last little leg, it's like when you run a race, right? You see
Yep.
people get that last win, that last kick.
You're
They're
that
able to do that with their debt because exactly, they're like, it's almost there. I can almost taste it. I'm almost there. And so they may even crank down their savings or investments just temporarily, just to sort of
just to
flood the system and get it done. But in that regard, it's not,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like
Correct.
the last accomplishment.
Yes.
And so it can be really powerful. So we do normally see that.
That's
Again, if
great.
people are able to
I'm
stay
glad.
with a payoff plan for 4 years or whatever, they'll finish it. I mean,
That's
they're well into that ball game.
I'm glad. I'm glad that that's like the average that you see, that they're more inclined to pay it all off. And yes, I remember that moment when I was paying off my student loans, we call it OSAP, and there was a point, like the first 2 years, it felt like it was at square one, and I was like, "No,
It's all
no, no,
interest and you're
no."
paying. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I have to put more into this because this is getting ridiculous." And I think by so what, I came back 2015. I came back from Korea, and it felt like I was still stagnant, and then by 2017, I just paid it off, like,
yeah.
also with, like, tax refund and stuff. I was like, "Oh, what a breath of fresh air," because I am sick and tired of, like, just seeing this go nowhere. So I definitely like that stance is very common, and I hope, like, there are folks that are listening that, hey, you're at the last leg of the race, just push through
Yeah,
and
that
get it
last,
done.
yeah, that last sprint. I'm hoping that my wife and I experience that actually, because we are we're paying quite a bit extra on our mortgage, and we've got it to the point where our house will be paid off in about 6 years. And if we did nothing different than what we're doing now, and
Mhm.
there's a part of me that's like thinking, okay, when we get to like a year or two left, like will we have the like sort of just, all right, let's just do this. Let's just
Yeah,
like this year, let's just get it done. Let's knock this mortgage out, right? Let's dump everything we've got, all our firepower.
exactly.
And so I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I mean, we're already paying it pretty quickly, but there is always that psychology of just saying, hey, it's completely gone, right? The house is gone, or mortgage, not the house, the mortgage is gone.
Mortgage.
So hopefully the house isn't gone.
God willing,
I do live in
because
a tornado area, so I guess it's possible. But
oh, no. And that's amazing because 6 years go by like this.
yeah.
So, definitely would I can't wait to hear you, talk about that. And how about emotional triggers? Like, I know we spoke about money triggers, but that we're self-aware. Um, mm, 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 there's triggers like guilt, fear,
Mhm.
overwhelming. What are like some how are people able to lower that pressure and be able to just understand, like, this is just how things are?
So I think that, um, well, I mean, the therapist in me has to say, like, you should talk it out. I mean, this is
Mhm.
most of these problems need to be talked out
Yes.
probably with a professional, but depends on the level. I mean, if it's just a, mild case, talk to your friends or whatever. Um, but I think more. on a macro level, this speaks to the fact that we have a very bad tendency to misconstrue money as the answer to things in our lives. And money is just a tool. It is nothing more. It never has been. It never will be. It is not the answer. It is not the goal. It is not the purpose. It is a tool to get you to those things. And so I always ask people, like, if you're having a stressful day, if you're having an emotional issue at work, or you're whatever the case might be, you're having family problems, you're reliving trauma from your past, whatever terrible thing seems to be happening in your life right now, you would not walk out to your garage and look at your hammer and say, why aren't you fixing things for me? The hammer is just a tool. It doesn't do anything. It does whatever you tell it to do. When you pick it up and you slam a nail, it does its job. That is the exact same thing as money. Money does not fix anything. It gives you access to the things that can fix things. Now, I believe you guys have nationalized healthcare. So for you, you don't need money to go see a therapist. But here, we have to have lots of it.
But we have like OHIP, so like a part, depending if you have like a premium package, then you can. Therapy is quite expensive now that I've been doing people's medical expenses and taxes. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So much go.
Yeah, everything medical here is expensive, obviously, but but no, I mean, I think it's I just think it's a general. It goes because often, unfortunately, when people are not able to make a really clear distinction in their mind that money is a tool and not the goal, then money actually becomes the stressor. Unfortunately, you have people that view, like, if I don't have money, that becomes my stress in and of itself. Now, I fully understand if you can't eat, or like I get necessities. I'm not trying to minimize any of that, but you have people who are making a good living. I mean, there are plenty of money coming in each month, and yet they're making, let's say, I don't know, they're making 100,000, but because they're not making 120, suddenly they're stressing about that. And I'm like, what? That makes no sense. Are you meeting all the requirements of your life? And I don't mean just food. Like, are you happy? Do you get to eat out? Do you get to go on vacation with your family? Oh, yes, you get to do all those things. Then what exactly is causing the stress? It's this imaginary number you have, right? You're allowing the money itself to become the stressor. And that's the part that I think people just really get flawed on. It also then allows them to avoid the bigger questions that really genuinely need to be answered. And I would just, as much as I can possibly stress this for your viewers, the most important thing you can do to improve your financial future is have an honest, true, genuine conversation with yourself about what you actually care about. What do you actually genuinely care about? Because then the money can just fund that lifestyle, that whatever that life is.
That's true.
We set budgets and we set spending plans, which I love, by the way. That's another hill I'll die on. But we set those based on these arbitrary amounts that we've been told by financial planners. You should only spend this much on your house, and you should have this much for groceries, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Well, what if you're somebody who just is desperately passionate about going out to eat with your friends? That is how you get your joy in life. That is where all your connection happens. It's where your mental health is made better. Well, then a financial planner should have no right to tell you that what you want to do with your money is the wrong answer. That's not how financial planning should work. Financial planning should be, you tell me, Camille, what is it you want out of your life, and I'll help you figure out how to pay for it. That's what financial planning is supposed to be.
Exactly.
And so I think that's the biggest thing, but we have a really bad tendency. The question I get asked probably more than any other question in my life, because of what I do for a living, is what's the best use of money and what's the worst use of money? And so the best use of money is very, very specific to individual people. I can never answer that for somebody, but I can always answer what the worst use of money is. That is a very easy question. It is spending money on something other people care about. That's the worst use of money, and we all do it. We all spend money to buy cars to impress people we don't even like. Right? Like, it's the Susie Orman thing, spending money you don't have to buy things you don't want to impress people you don't like.
Is the worst combination.
Yes. And so But that happens when you don't step back and
Mhm.
genuinely understand what you care about.
That's true.
You've said you've watched my podcast a few times. I joke about this on almost every episode for some reason, is that like I openly acknowledge that for my wife and I, we spend more than planners say we should, or the numbers say we should on our cars. We have
Yeah.
expensive car payments,
Mhm.
but I desperately love my car. Like it's one of like it's the thing that gives me so much joy and happiness. It's a reward for my hard work. Like I
Yeah.
love my car. So what sense would it make to take that away from me?
That joy
And
from you.
you're right.
Yeah.
But I do not care at all about eating out. It does nothing for me. I get nothing out of it. I get no satisfaction, no joy. I don't care at all about that. So
Mhm.
I stripped that from my budget because other people think that's important, not me.
Exactly. So
And
you
so
keep your priorities in order.
honest priorities, right? Like
Yes.
genuinely, thinking for yourself what matters to me. And then if you're with a partner, obviously having the same conversation with them. But
Yeah. I know some of my guy friends are going to be like, awesome. I can have that car that I want.
Well, yeah, if you're single, I mean, if you're married, you still have to have the conversation. But yeah,
exactly.
So, yeah.
And as long as you, okay. So question with that stance, because I do agree, like most financial planners, gurus, whatever, cannot tell you ideally what to spend your money on.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, would it make sense for if you financially can obtain it and it makes you happy, then it is ideally the best decision that you've made for yourself. Because if you, and my question is, what if like they can't afford it, but they're just doing it for the status quo, or flossing, as sometimes you like to say, keeping up with the Joneses,
Yeah. I think, well, that's problematic. I mean, you have to be able to afford stuff, right? I
Yes.
think there's a couple, when I work with clients, there's a couple of key sort of pieces to your financial plan that I kind of almost pseudo dictate to you because, so for example, like retirement, I say, listen, before we even have the discussion, you're putting a minimum amount of whatever, let's discuss it. I prefer 20, but if they want to do 10, 15, whatever,
Yeah.
we're going to put a certain percentage of your money away because no one actually wants to do that. Right? So like, if you just ask people to like list their things, what are things you like? Giving away my money for 40 years is not one of them. And so I'm like, listen, I just have to use my professional experience to take this off your plate and say, listen, we just have to do this. And so, okay, so let's do that. Once we get done with that piece, one of the challenges that a lot of financial planners have, and I work with my students to be like, don't do this, is applying my utility, and utility is the way you value things, applying my utility to your circumstance.
Yes.
Right. So you say, hey, I really want to go on vacation, 3 times this year. I'm like, oh, no human needs 3 vacations a year. Like, and so I try to tilt your budget towards what I care about. And so that's very, very problematic. Parents do this all the time, right? Like their kid is like, I want to go, be an engineer. Like, oh no, don't do that. You should be a doctor or whatever.
Yes.
And so we have to be really careful applying our perspective to it. But you also then, it's one thing to say, I like these 10 different things. Like I love all these things. I really want to use my money for these. Well, okay, but you still have to have that money. So you do have to rank. I mean, you have to rank order them, right? And then we just, I mean, it's not, budgeting is not rocket science. It's just, list your priorities, things you desperately care about. Which, okay, so got to start with housing and food, like necessities, and then let's go, down the list of things you desperately care about and love and want in your life. And then we'll just go until you run out of money. And at that point, it's like, all right, well, we reached the end of the list, right?
Yes.
And so if it's below that, like for your male listeners, you're saying like want the car. It's like, well, yeah, you still got to be able to buy that Porsche. Like just because you want it doesn't mean you can have
it.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's the ability to start to really internalize what's important. I also think that, I'll throw this out, there's a little bit of a curveball way to think about some of this stuff that maybe rings a bell with some people. I also, like using my car as an example, I actually look at my budget and I have a certain amount of money that we allocate for my car. But for me, that dollar figure is not just car payment or transportation, whatever kind of category you want to put it in.
Or the
For
gas.
me, I have an electric, but yes. So,
Oh, nice.
but yeah, I had some justification there, but we'll see some bad justification, but that's fine. And so, but no, I look at that car and I say, if I'm just going to make up numbers, let's say the payment's
Mhm.
$500, and
Yeah.
I say, okay, the planners all tell me that the payment should be 300 or whatever. Well,
Mhm.
that's okay. Then 300 of it, I'm going to consider to be my car payment. 200 of it, I'm actually going to consider to be my entertainment because I don't eat out, I
Okay.
don't drink, I don't do any of
Yes.
the vices. And
Mhm.
so I'm applying a different budget category to it because of the way I view my car. My car is
Yes.
very much an entertainment thing for me. I like to go out and drive and just have fun, and you get the
Mhm.
wind and kind of nice day out.
Yeah.
So it's not like that's the thing for your listeners to understand is these hard and fast categories, those only exist on a piece of paper. That's
Mhm.
not how we actually live our lives. And so as long
So
as you can sustain your life with a solid budget, first of all, please, for the love of everything, have a budget. But build a solid budget that you can stick to, because the reason most people fail to stick to a budget is because they didn't choose the budget in the first place. It was dictated to them by
mm,
whatever, the
yes.
internet, their parents, a financial planner, somebody else. They
Yes.
never chose that plan. And so there's no reason for them to want to
To
desperately stay
continue.
to it.
Oh,
Mhm.
actually, that's that's actually really ideal. And you said the key word that I like to always mention to folks: vices.
Mhm.
Because I know that there's needs, wants, and vices. Um, and from the sounds of it, it's not that you're telling folks to stop their vices altogether, but maybe putting a hold on it. Um, how do you normally discuss to people about their needs, wants, and vices overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think needs are actually very minimal. People tend to bleed their wants into the needs category. I'm like, no,
Mhm,
like,
mm.
you're calm down. That $100 pair of jeans is not a need. Um, so I think when you're talking about needs, it's minimal. I mean, your food, shelter, kind of Maslow's hierarchy. But
Mhm.
um, when you come to vices, I think vices are okay
Mhm.
as long as you are one aware of them, right? That you
Okay.
understand it is a vice. It's not a
Yes.
necessity. It's not something, just be, as long as you're being mindful of it. I think it also can be okay within a controlled budget. You're actually better off
Mhm.
to acknowledge it and
Yes.
build it in as opposed to hiding it. And because like people become, I'll use right now in the United States, it's probably happening in Canada as well. We
Mhm.
have just an epidemic of young males that are getting obsessed with sports betting, and
Ah,
it's destroying their lives, and it's going to cost marriages. It's the bane of existence for 20-year-olds right now. And
it's
what I
wild.
tell people is, like, if you're obsessed with sports gambling,
Mhm.
rather than pretend like you aren't and try to sort of hide this from your partner or from yourself or anybody else,
Mhm.
just acknowledge it, but put constraints on it.
Yeah.
Right. While you're not wrapped up in the moment, you're not, you're cool down, you're being very sober about the approach. You just say, listen, it's something I desperately enjoy. I know it's not good for me in a pure sense, whatever. But if I'm going to say, I'm going to give myself permission to do
Mhm.
$100 a month on sports betting, because then it's built into your budget and it comes with
Yes.
some constraints.
Yes.
And so I don't like when planners act like every vice should be removed from the budget, because that, again, is
It's
not
not
how we live our
realistic.
lives. It's not. It's
Yeah.
not realistic, and they won't do it. And what they'll end up doing is hiding it, right?
Mhm.
And so they'll run up credit card debt or something else. Be like, "Oh, I stuck to my budget." You're like, "But did you though?" Like, so
I could see the Bet 365, right?
right, 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 yeah. And so I mean, I think there's a lot of those types of things that and we call them vices simply because they can become destructive in other ways, right? Gambling, if you're alcohol, whatever it can be, where you take it
Mhm.
so far that not even monetarily, nothing to do with finance, just can destroy your life in every other way.
Mhm.
But I think that we have to be cautious with that label, because everything can do that if you are not careful with it. I mean, if you're a shopper, right,
Yes.
there's no physical harm or
Mhm.
anything, but you can absolutely destroy your family by having a shopping addiction, right?
True.
Like, so these
Very
things
true.
that we call vices, we do because they're commonly acknowledged as dangerous, right? Gambling, drinking, smoking, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
But they are really just somebody's wants that have been taken too far. Well, you could apply
Yep,
that to pretty
that's
much
true.
anything, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, we have a question.
Okay.
All right. There's someone in the chat. Thank you, Finding Purpose. When you see a question like this, how do you like to address them? Because I know, like,
I'm
we
very
mentioned this.
sorry. It's very small on my screen. Could you
Oh, okay. I will. Sorry. I struggle with a budget. I can't seem to follow through.
Okay. So if you're struggling with a budget, number one, I would say again, you're not alone. So I want to be clear about this. This is very, very common. Less than 30%, at least in America, less than 30% of people are able to have a budget they stick with. So you are not alone in this fight. However, to give yourself better chances, the first piece is that you need to do, as we mentioned a couple of times now, this honest assessment. In most cases that I work with, someone who is unable to stick to a budget is because it's not the budget they chose. It's the budget they think they're supposed to have. And so, and again, whatever that source may be, it may just be the internet, maybe shows like this where we say, oh, you're supposed to do 20% towards your house or whatever. You have built a budget that you feel like somebody that would be approved by somebody, right? If I showed my budget to my parents or my financial planner or whoever, they would approve of this budget. That is not a real budget. That is a school project you have done. You have turned in homework. So you need to really genuinely figure out what budget will work for you, not for anybody else, one that you can stick to, because it's the only one that you'll actually, kind of keep on the right path.
Yeah.
So figure that part out first. The second piece is automate every single possible thing you can within that budget that is possible to be done. And so all of your bill pays, and I apologize, I don't know Canadian finances as well, but whatever version of bill pay you guys are able to use where you automatically send your payments out. So, anything like that, all your investments and savings should absolutely be automated.
True.
Yeah, just everything you can get off your plate, because then you're removing the person who's going to fail to keep the budget the most often is you. We are the problem. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. And so, removing yourself from the equation as much as possible will increase your odds of sticking with it. It will also reduce the potential damage you can do to the budget, right? So if you, let's say you have $100 a month total that you get to budget, whatever.
Yes.
If you're able to automate and remove $75 of that, paying your mortgage off, paying your cars, paying your credit cards, paying whatever, getting it all off your table as much as possible, you only have $25 left you can screw up, right? And so you remove a lot of that potential damage point. So that would be my suggestion to the viewer, is the two things. Really truly build a budget that you care about, that you believe in, that represents the things you want in your life. Stop listening to the experts out there, I guess including myself, in terms of what it should be. What's going to be best for your life that you'll genuinely stick to. And by the way, specifically build in those areas that other people have told you to be careful with. So for example, like eating out, if this is something that you genuinely like, is to eat out, then build it into the budget and give yourself permission to do the things you like. So you're not constantly struggling to overcome the things you don't want to do. And then just automate absolutely everything you possibly can. It'll make not just your budgeting, but every part of your financial life will get a lot easier.
I love that, because thank you, first of all, for that advice. So Finding Purpose, you are not alone. Building a budget that works for you is the key to it, right?
It's the whole ball game.
And automating. So we do. Between our big 5 financial institutions and all the other, I was going to say digital. I guess you can say digital for now. You're able to automate a good amount of things. I think it's just important for folks to be aware of the dates when things come into play, right? Because that's important.
Yeah, I mean, but in a lot of cases, even that will sort of fix itself by automating, because if
Mhm.
you know you get paid on, I don't know, 15 and 30 or something,
True.
you're setting up the automations for 16 and 30 and 1 or whatever makes sense. So, I mean, it actually helps people take a lot of that decision fatigue off your mind, right? You have
Mhm.
less to worry about.
Yeah. Ooh, I have it. So, Finding Purpose said something else.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you have experienced this, but you probably have had others experience. I'm not sure where this person's from, but we like to call it like a black tax or like a foreign tax, like helping our relatives back
Oh,
home.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We have
Yeah.
here it would be Hispanics that do it a lot here. Yes.
Exactly, right? So there's most times there is a individual that because they're the financially stable one, they
Hmm.
are the family's
The bank account.
emergency. Yep, yep, the ATM.
Yep, yep.
How does one um manage, I'll say manage that outcome being the family ATM?
Yeah, so I think the reality is we have to take a step back and say, are you okay with that? So I think that's the first
Mm,
piece. Now, so if you this is where that cultural thing plays a role, right?
yeah.
Because you may have been raised in an environment where that was the expectation, but that doesn't make it right.
Mhm.
And so, if you do not believe in that, if you do not believe that is how things should happen, then you should feel no obligation to do so. That is nonsense. I think going back to this tool thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
you can't call on me every time your drywall is damaged to come patch your drywall. Like, I don't do that anymore. But if you are someone who's okay with the sort of concept of helping out the family members,
Mhm.
I would suggest you just build a certain amount into your budget. Just
True.
and have it, because what the reason it's typically very stressful in those circumstances is it comes out of the blue, right? It's this
Mhm.
unexpected stuff that it it's unexpected yet expected, because you know it's coming. You just don't
Mhm.
know when or how much it will be, right? But
Yeah.
you kind of have come to a realization like they're going to hit me up for it at some point. And so if you know that and you're okay with it,
Mhm.
then build in a certain amount, but limit it. I mean, again, you have a
Yes.
right to protect your own finances and your own, because it's like on the airplane, right? Put the airbag on yourself first, right? You the mask on yourself, excuse me. And
Mhm.
so you still have to build up your own financial wherewithal
Correct.
while supporting your family. So just build it in there at whatever level you feel comfortable with,
Mhm.
and then let the family, maybe not directly, but let them
Yes.
kind of know, like, I will help when I can, but I do have limits to this.
Yeah, and that is a solid advice because, like, there's times and they did mention that they sometimes feel overwhelmed and feel bad to say, some there's something in our body that is ingrained that we feel guilty
Hmm.
and shamed, to say no, especially if it's, like, the older generation, 'cause
They
a lo
raised me, they helped
uh
me, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was the one that took you to that schooling or that Disney World or something like that, a sort. So it's like kind of the guilt trip, right? But I believe like adding that to your budget will make it more or sorry, will make it less stressful to help because at least if you have that in your budget and you put it in amount that you're comfortable with, maybe a little lower, maybe like 10-15% lower, just so you say like, "Hey, this is the amount that I can do. Take it or leave it."
Yeah, and
Type of
you
thing.
will internally feel like I did what I could, right?
Mhm.
I gave as much as I was able to give. And I
Exactly.
think what, the problem is, if you this is it doesn't make this situation right. I'll be careful there, but if you have any circumstance where something is coming to your life consistently for money, whatever it is, it's always, for example, I'll use Christmas. It drives me crazy when people don't budget for Christmas. They're like, and it's like November 25th, and like, oh my God, Christmas is coming. I'm like, were you caught off guard? Like, it's the same day every year. Like, what are you doing here? And so, like, it's the same concept. If you know that your family is going to be coming to you for money and you know that you're probably going to give in and help, then that's just an expense. I might not agree with that expense, but that doesn't matter. If it's an expense in your life, it's an expense. So build it in accordingly, right? But build it in like you would any other expense. If you can't afford a Porsche and all you can afford is a Chevy Cruze, then buy the Chevy Cruze, right? Like stop giving them the Porsche.
Yeah.
And so by building it into your budget, then you will have peace of mind to know I did what I could do, right? I
Correct.
helped where I could help as much as I could help without damaging myself.
That's that. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. That's a great that is some solid advice because hey, some of our family is going to be expense. So you might as well just incorporate it in so you're not as stressed as you usually are.
Right.
And there was there was something that you mentioned before that I love that you teach your financial planners not to insinuate like their beliefs, but like to actually listen to the person, be able to
Mhm.
cater to what they're looking for. What's another thing that you would consider a good or great financial planner?
So, um, I think if you're going to use a financial planner, you should someone. I mean, I'm obviously very biased towards the CFP just because it's sort of the gold standard. But
Mhm.
even if they don't have that designation,
Mhm.
you should go to a planner who is very holistic in their approach. Because
Mhm.
one of the
Mhm.
things that I think um, newbies or uninformed or uneducated people in this field, or if you're just sort of new to the whole money thing and you're looking for help, what they will not realize is how interconnected all of these things are. So when I
Mhm.
make one recommendation to you to do XYZ with your money for this investment, it is going to have tax consequences, estate planning consequences. It's going to have all these other things. You don't know that as a customer and shouldn't. That's not your, you do something else for a living, right? You're an engineer or whatever. You don't do money. You're relying on the expert to know those things. But people who, what we have in the United States is a sort of rash of people who sell life insurance, and that's kind of all they do.
Mhm.
And they're terrible financial planners because, first of all, they think everybody needs life insurance, which is nonsense. And they don't know anything else about finance. They know how to fix your budget, and by fix it, I mean only enough to where you can then get life insurance. Right? So that they figure out a way to fit that into your budget somehow. Uh, but they don't know anything about like any of the other insurances. They have no idea what impact it'll have on the
Yeah.
estate plan situation. They don't have any idea what it'll do for your taxes. They don't know or care. They just want you to buy the life insurance. And so, but they'll say I'm a financial advisor, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, like no, you're not. You're a life insurance salesman. And so, just for your like, I force my students, again, I teach the CFP, so it's a little different, but
Yeah.
I'm forcing my students like you have to understand the whole spectrum of what one decision is going to impact everything,
Mhm.
right? And so that ability to do that, and I think too, I just because of what I do specifically, I've been very, very passionate about trying to help my students understand you must acknowledge and
Mhm.
recognize the other person's psychology. You
Yes.
must be have empathy towards what they do, right? Because like I can't, no matter what I, Jason Moore, do, I can never be in your shoes. I'm a 50-year-old white male. Like every privilege that there is in the world, I've been given, right? Like, and so, uh, and so when I meet with anyone, whether it's a young Hispanic family, whether it's
Mhm.
a young Black couple, it doesn't matter what I'm meeting with. I have to be open-minded enough to say, like you talked about the black tax or the Hispanic tax or whatever you want to call it, like that is not
Mhm.
something that we have in our world, right? Like in the white world, we don't do that, right? We just tell our family to go die in a hole or whatever. And so, like, and but it doesn't. So it's not right or wrong. It's what's important. Like that's something that's important to you. It's part of your culture. It's part of your background. It's part of the understanding who you are. So
Mhm.
trying to get my students to understand, like the way you view things is not the answer. It's not the only way. It just happens to be the current way you were raised.
Mhm.
And so I think having empathy and being able to understand where other people are coming from,
Yes.
it will make you better at helping them. Like this finding purpose viewer that we're talking about.
Mhm.
I could give the technically correct answer, but it's not going to
Mhm.
help her. or
Yeah.
him or her. I'm sorry, I don't know which one it was. So
Mhm.
it's not going to help that person because
Mhm.
that's not their culture. It's not the experience they're having in their life. And so if I don't give them an answer that reflects back to them,
Mhm.
it's just not helpful
It's just gonna go over
advice.
their head.
It is, or they're
Yeah.
just going to ignore it, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't apply to them. Yeah.
Mhm. Uh, you just reminded me because I had the biggest rant with a client this week. I there nothing upsets my soul more than financial advisors that don't look at holistically everything, because I deal with, I do bookkeeping, I do taxes, I do personal finance. So I feel like I'm like, what is it, Trinity of personal finance, right? So I'm able to think of certain things, and I was sick to my stomach. I'm glad you mentioned it because I'm going to mention it. I was sick to my stomach that I noticed that someone kept getting charged, not charged. So they had interest income
Oh,
coming
okay.
into play. And I was like, wow, I'm glad that you lowered it from last year, because it was almost 10,000 last year. I was like, all they had to do was put it in your TFSA and you wouldn't have to be
Yeah,
paying
shelter
that
it.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shelter it. Yeah.
exactly. So like your Roth IRA,
Right.
they actually showed me how much money they have in their savings account and how much space they have in their TFSA. And
You're like, what are we doing?
I was like, what?
Right.
Why did they do this? And then they're like, oh, they helped me open up another TFSA investment savings. I'm like, no. Put it in your TFSA that you already have. You literally have 6 figures of contribution space. They're like, oh well, what they did, they put it in a GIC for 3 months. I was like,
Yeah. It's earned interest. Yeah. I mean, again, that's what happens when you just for the viewers out there, like to be super clear, your experts, our superpower is not our technical knowledge. You can go out, any person watching this video right now can go online to Google and figure out how life insurance works, or go look at whatever, how a 401k works if you're in the United States. Like anybody can go look that stuff up.
mm-hmm,
But what you will not know is how it interacts with everything else, and how it, and based on your age and your tax bracket and your marital status and your et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
mm-hmm,
And so where the experts, where we provide the value, where we earn our money, is in helping you have the entire picture make sense, right? Not, I mean, a really good example is when I'm dealing with what I would consider higher earners, higher net worth people, they plan to retire early. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. You say that, but you realize, at least in the United States, the far majority of your investment assets are in tax sheltered accounts, which here you cannot have until you're 59 and a half. So
yes,
you say you're going to retire early, but how? Like, you're, well, I have $5 million. Yes, in an account you can't touch until you're 59 and a half. So we have
exactly.
to do something else, right?
Mm-hmm,
And there are different tools we can do to do that. Um, but they're like, well, I understand how my 401k works. I'm like, yes, I get that you understand that, but
mm-hmm,
you don't know how to get it out. You don't know how to, like,
exactly.
and
Or pay
or pay a ton in taxes and penalties or whatever.
mm-hmm,
And so just, when you it's like looking up at WebMD and going, okay, I've figured out how this virus works. And the doctor's like, good Lord, that is not how it works. Like, you're going to kill yourself. Like, come talk to a doctor. And like, medicines interact with each other, right? Stop trying to self-diagnose. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. Go to an expert, but again, make sure they're an actual expert,
exactly.
not just this, hoopla. I've been a financial planner for 10 minutes because I got a life insurance license. Like, that is not a financial planner.
I really think that individuals should really look at folks that are more this is my personal opinion. Anyone that's flat fee or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's the saying.
Flat fee. Yeah,
Yeah,
fee based. Yeah.
yeah. So they're actually looking out for your best interest, because if you go to someone like that's stuck with a bank, like we have RBC, TD,
Sure.
BMO, those type of things, they are only going to cater to what they have in their package, because that's what they have to do.
They're captive. Yes, they're captive agents, right?
So
Yeah.
Jason, when I said I was like, listen, I need you to go tomorrow and fix this because you're going to get screwed next year. She's like, really? I was like, yes, you're going to pay so much interest, and our interest income is treated the same way as earned income.
Yeah, so it's like ours too.
Yeah.
So
it's
expensive.
Like, I was flabbergasted. I was so angry.
You also, the other reason I like fee-based or flat fee, whatever you want to call it, is you know what you're paying for, and you know the quality and the value you're getting for it. And many people I have found, like I've got people that are perfectly okay to pay us, pay $1,000 once a year for me to do a full review of everything they have, right? And they're so kind of in the middle of the plan, they're doing really well. There's no change, like they're like, all right, I'll see you next year. It's like, okay, cool, we got it all set up. So I'm okay with that. What I hate is the assets under management model, the AUM model, because what I don't like about it is the lie. Well, okay, maybe a lie strong. The very misleading thing that people say, well, I only make money when you make money, right? So like and you're like, that's not, no, you don't, you freaking liar. Because if I have $1 million in my account, I'm the investor. I have $1 million in my account. They're charging me 1%. So they're charging me $10,000 a year to manage my money, which is an outrageous amount anyways. But they're charging me that money. Next year, the money goes up to 1.1 million. Okay, cool. I made 100, you make 11,000 this year. So everybody's fine. We're all happy. But the next year it goes down to 900. You still charged me $9,000. I lost 200,000. Right. So that's the part that drives me insane. And so I'm not a fan of that nonsense. I think as a client, you should just know what you're paying for and pay only for what you need. But understand that you also get what you pay for. If you go to a financial planner who charges you $50, they probably suck at their job. Right? Like,
that is true.
I mean, just like anything else, like you wouldn't go to a doctor who charges, well, you guys don't get charged, but like we wouldn't go to a doctor that paid, $25 and be like, whoa, you're a quack. Right. Like, so yeah, same kind of thing.
That definitely. So it's like, even like doing taxes and stuff, I find that, well, don't get me wrong, because I think you guys have H&R Block too, and I'm not going to butcher them today, I promise.
I don't care.
but it's definitely like there's certain companies, reputable companies, that they're like, oh, I'm willing to pay the extra mile. And then when you actually learn that some of the people are not the best, but if you actually went to someone that, went to school, is really cares about their clients and wants to teach them, and hopefully they will listen. Not directing it to anyone. That's
right. That's always right. Yeah. No one in particular.
But like, you definitely would like hope to see like they value the amount that you're charging, because regardless if it's H&R Block, Liberty Tax, or other folks, you do get get what you pay for.
Yeah, and I mean, I will, just as a plug for you, I don't do taxes, just so we're clear, so I have no vested interest in this, but as a plug for you, what I will tell your viewers is the first priority in every single financial wealth building program is the budget. That's number one.
Yes.
Number two is avoiding taxes. It just is. You can be the best investor in the world. If you're going to give the government 40% of that money, you're going to get nowhere. Right. So, that is, so if you're going to, when I tell people to hire professionals, when I tell my clients, so just so everybody on this thing is clear, I have what I call a real job. I run a nonprofit organization, and I have my teaching job. All of financial planning I do is for free. I don't charge anybody. I do all pro bono work. Okay. So when people need actual services like a will drawn up or something, I have to refer them to other experts, because they, lawyers or whatever. So what I tell people is, I'll help you build the budget, and then the next phone call you're going to make is to a tax accountant. So if you want to have a real wealth plan, you need to talk to somebody who understands taxes. Even if that person, let me say, like for yourself, even if that person's only once a year going to file your taxes, you want an actual expert to do it, so they can give you, not just file it and say, okay, you're legal, go home now. It's to say, no, kind of what you said. Hey, this was a bad investment for you. You should consider changing this so you save taxes next year.
Yeah.
Right? Like that kind of advice H&R Block would literally never give, because it's not what they're designed to do. Right? I mean, it's not even a criticism of them. They're designed to file what we call 1040s, which is the just standard platform, normal taxation thing, and just do 1,000 of them a day.
Yeah.
Right? That's all they're scheduled. They're not designed to be like counselors or advisors. So if you really want to build a wealth plan and save money over time, you need a professional who can look at it, not just file it legally, but look at it and go, this is a bad idea. You need to move the money here, or do this, or get married, or whatever the case is.
Ooh, there's one more. Okay, I'll see if I think you can answer this one. Let's see. Which is a better strategy to maximize your TFSA contribution room, which is Roth IRA, or contribute to spousal RSP instead? Which is first question for you. Do you, I think you guys do, have spousal 401k?
So no, we do not have, we have spousal IRAs.
Okay.
We don't have spousal 401ks. 401k is only eligible through an employer, and it's your own employer. You can't do your spouse.
Yes. Okay.
So yes, but we do have spousal IRAs.
And I think IRA is a non-registered. No, a registered account.
Are you talking about for us?
Yes, for you.
We have both. So you mean front end sheltered? So we have what we call the traditional IRAs, where you do not pay taxes now.
Yes.
You don't pay it while it's in there. You do pay it when you retire.
Okay.
And then we have the Roth, which is where you do pay taxes now. You don't pay it while it's in there, and you don't pay it when you take it out.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
so
we have both of those, and you can spousal either one.
Okay. So I think they're talking about the spousal IRA.
Okay.
How does that? Is it better to do that, or better strategy to do the Roth IRA?
Okay. So, yeah, I can speak to. I'll clarify this and answer this question from the American perspective, and then hopefully either you or your listeners can just translate it to the proper accounts. So, so again, for the listeners, our 401ks here, there is a Roth option, but it's very rare. Most companies don't have it. So for most people here, when we talk about a 401k in the United States, we mean no taxes today, no taxes while it grows, taxes when you retire. Okay. So it's the same as our traditional IRA.
Got it.
But we often have a match. So our companies will match a certain percentage that we put in. So what I tell young people, especially in the United States, from our tax, roughly speaking, you should want most of your money to go into a Roth, where you do pay the taxes today, unless you're making more than about 120, 130,000. Depends on how many kids and all this other stuff, but roughly speaking. So what I tell people to do systematically, the best approach to building it is to say, I'm going to put enough into my 401k that the company will match. I'm going to take their free money, whatever money they're willing to match. I'm going to take the free money.
Correct.
Step 2, I'm going to go to my Roth IRAs, including spousal if necessary. So in the US, we can do 8,000 per person. Okay. So it'd be 16,000 for the family, if you will.
Yes.
I would go to that as step 2 and max those out. If I happen to have a disposable income that's enough that I have even more to do, right, above that 16,000, then go back to the 401k, because in the US, you can do both a traditional and a Roth IRA, but it's 8,000 total. So it doesn't matter. You can split them to whatever. So once you've maxed out those Roths, the regular traditional IRA is no longer eligible to you, not open to you. So, but the 401k has a $25,000, it's $24,500, but $25,000 limit.
Correct.
So I understand that's a little bit of a process here, but get the company's money first, if that's on the table. If it's on the table, get the company's money first. Second step would be to do the Roth IRA and max it out, you and the spouse, if that's necessary. And then if you still have some money, then go back to the company and continue to ramp that up.
Okay. So for translation, folks, for us Canadians.
Right, exactly, yes.
So first, see if your employer has the RPP, the pension matching. Yes. Since you said Roth IRA, which is the tax-free aspect, that's our TFSA. Go into that and then your RSPs. But I think with these, so we don't have spousal TFSA. We do have the spousal RSP. So it's always good to look at your CRA account. Always look at your CRA account and see how much space you have, the primary person, and then how much your spouse has, because then you'll be able to use that. And I've seen that happen. I've seen like high earned individuals as well work with that. The only thing you'd have to double check with the spousal RSP is whether you have to actually open up a spousal RSP, which is it's most likely you do. So those are the type of tax strategies or tax planning that you definitely have to do. And if you want to book me for a consultation, by all means, email me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important for people to understand that there is this. It'll be the same for you. And again, I don't know your systems as well, but there's always
Mhm.
this trip point where you're earning as a family. Let's just use a couple as
Yes.
an example. You're earning a certain amount of money that paying taxes now is
Mhm.
beneficial.
Yes.
And then there's you do reach a point, there's a tipping point at which
Mhm.
you say, no, I actually would prefer to not pay taxes now because I'm in such a high bracket. But
Yeah.
that's hard
And you
to judge.
defer.
There's no number we can give your viewers that's just this is the line in the sand, because
Mhm.
it's going to depend on a lot of different factors, their
Correct.
deductions, how many kids they have, et cetera, et cetera. So again, in the United States, it's
Mhm.
roughly 130,000, give or take,
Yes.
is where we would kind of start to have that conversation.
I know. I I actually heard that like with my friends like from the States, and I was like, wait. So you're telling me regarding your income, you can't use the Roth IRA? That's
We tap out. Yes, correct.
yeah,
We have cap income limits. Yes.
that's kind of wild because well, I guess, we have OHIP. We we don't have to pay for medical like you guys.
Right. Right. Yes, exactly. We're
And
doing it. We're awesome down here. You just relax.
right.
We're awesome. What are you talking about? We're running around starting wars like we have business doing this. We don't know what we're doing. You should never listen to the Americans. I'm just saying. All right.
Trying to take all like collect like Pokemons and stuff of
They were just
each
collecting
country.
dictators from around the world. Yeah, it's collecting cards. Yeah, we're idiots. Don't listen to us.
Oh my gosh. But our
Yeah.
TFSAs, we actually don't have like a cap, which is, I think, beneficial. But do you want to know the joke? I kid you not. I will say at least 20 to 30% of folks have actually maximized on that TFSA. And
Yeah. I
and
mean, yeah,
with the
we don't
RSP, it's
have
different.
our 401ks, our percentages of people contributing is abysmally low, and the percentage of people maxing out is like next to nothing. I mean,
And I
like
was being
2%
nice.
or something. Yeah,
I
they're
was
insane.
actually being nice.
Yeah, I mean that's just crazy. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, it would be a lot in the U.S., but still, it's yeah, we're not very good at putting money away. That's for sure.
And what do you well, and I guess that's the same concept as
Sorry,
the
my phone's doing something screwy.
no worries,
Sorry, go
no
ahead. Go
worries.
ahead.
I think the same concept would be with the reason why they don't put into their 401k. What is the reason of folks not saving for a rainy day?
Um, so I think you have this issue. Um, uh, Humans in general, we struggle. The technical term, I don't want to get too sciencey here, but the technical term is called hyperbolic discounting. And so, what happens in the human brain is we are not literally not built to view things in the future. We have very bad time
Mm.
permanency. And so,
Mhm.
if you were to say, for example, if you were to tell somebody that, you know, right now something costs 500, but if, or excuse me, 1,000, sorry,
Mhm.
1,000, but if you wait 3 months, it'll be $500. They would understand what you're sort of saying to them. But if
Mm.
you pushed that same exact conversation out into the future, that 3 months would be irrelevant to them because it just wouldn't be able to register in their brain. So the closer something is to today, the
Mhm.
better we are at discounting and understanding it, the farther you push it out. And so when you ask people to save money, you are literally, it's like the retirement conversation we were having. You're
Yeah.
asking them to put money onto a timeline they literally can't
Can't
comprehend. It doesn't register
grasp.
with them. Yeah, you're pushing it so far into the future, their brain just can't. They're literally just taking your word for it. I mean, that's what it
Mhm.
comes down to, right? It's just
Yeah.
this leap of faith to say, oh, if you say I should do this, I'll do this. But because of that, they don't really want to do it. If you push the savings, because we can prove this out with
Mhm.
experimentation. If you push the savings into today, so you say,
Yeah.
hey, your son's birthday is in 3 weeks, I need you to save money over the next few weeks, they'll do it
Yeah.
because they can register that 3 week time horizon,
True.
right? But if you tell them Christmas is at the end of this year, suddenly like, oh, I forgot Christmas exists, and they can't save money even though it's only 9 months away, right? Like,
Yeah.
so typically anything beyond 3 months, give or take,
Oh,
gets off of our what's called our time permanency. We just, as a human, we have a really hard time with anything beyond that. We understand, like, intellectually we understand it exists, like
yeah.
we get it,
Mhm.
but we can't like really care about it, right? It's just not,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just doesn't work, right?
I totally understand, and I love that. Because there's certain things I say, like, oh, like, make sure you have your emergency fund, sinking fund, all those things, and I guess, yeah, it actually boggles my mind, actually, when it comes to, like, oh my gosh, Christmas is here, and I
uh,
couldn't.
I have been doing this for so long, and every year I still have friends that I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, you've known me for 25 years. Like, what are we doing? Like, they're like, oh my God, I haven't saved anything for Christmas. I was like, oh my Lord. So I'll call them on January 1st. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to give you a heads up. Christmas is going to be December 25th this year. You should probably consider putting some money away, right? Like, they're just horrible at it. Yeah. But
And
we're
they're
all dumb,
like,
and we all do dumb stuff. I mean,
yeah,
nobody's immune to this nonsense.
true, true,
Right. I
true.
can't remember my anniversary with my wife, and we've been
Ooh,
married for 1,000 years, so I'm just as guilty as everybody else. So,
Jason's wife, I apologize on my
no,
behalf.
believe me, she is well used to my stupidity at this point. I mean,
And
it's funny, but like I joke about this because I do a lot of podcasts, I speak, and all this other stuff,
Mhm.
and obviously you were kind enough to have me on today and trust that I have something intelligent to say. My 3 kids and my wife, they'd rather
Mhm.
listen to a homeless person. I mean, they're like, I need a financial advice. Let's just go find some homeless dude in a Kroger parking lot.
Oh my
Instead of
gosh.
asking
You know
dad.
what?
So
It's something about when the closest people to you hear it and they're like, and he says it like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." But if it's someone else, and it's happened to me many times, like, you give solid advice and they're like, oh, I just didn't understand what you were
yeah,
saying because it
I
was
mean,
you.
my daughter's the school. So my 2 boys are in college, but my daughter's in high school still. And
Nice.
so one of her teachers read my book, and
Ooh.
I didn't really sure how she got it, but and she asked Bella, my daughter, she said, hey, would your dad be willing to come in and speak on this? And Bella was like, oh, does he have to?
You should have said, hey, do you want to get a better mark?
That's right, right,
Do you
right.
want a better mark?
So she said, oh yeah, I guess you're going to talk to Mrs. Lewis class. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, I think I'm going to go to study hall. I was like, okay.
She's like, I've heard it many
You're right. That's
times.
the problem.
Like,
They hear it all the time. Yeah. So
like, it's like, this is she can, like, word to word be able to know what you're going to say, right?
yeah. Well, my wife, she, for my podcast,
Mhm.
she says, I turn it on at work and I mute it just to give you the views. I was like,
But you know
thank
what?
you.
I respect her for that, because at least give you the views.
Hey,
See,
helping the algorithm. Yeah,
to all my friends out there,
that's right. Just
let it
put
be
her on mute.
known.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
Right? That's great. Man, honestly, it doesn't even feel like we've been talking for almost 2 hours,
I
because
know. I
I'm
was
like,
looking at the time up there. It's like, holy crap, 148 minutes.
and
Or I
I'm
mean, an
like,
hour and 48 minutes.
I don't care, because it's like I'm having such a great time with you. But I know, there's your wife or kids are probably like,
Oh, I don't know what they're doing. They're definitely not. They're not paying attention to me. I promise you that. No. Well, here's what I'll offer.
Mhm.
I mean, this has been great. I think you have. It's super fun to do it live. I like having. I've never been on one where we've had live call-ins. That's really cool.
Really?
Questions coming. That's new to me. So this is fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I've had a great time. I mean, I'm happy to answer any other questions today, but I'll also throw out the offer. Like, I'm happy to come back anytime you want me to. If you have, or if your viewers send in questions and you say,
Yes.
"Hey, I'll send that to Jason for feedback or whatever," I'm happy
Ladies
to do
and
it because
gentlemen.
this kind of stuff is fun. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If you
Ladies
have
and gentlemen,
questions,
you have you have like 5-10 minutes to say a question. If you don't have a question, tough luck. But no, like I
yeah.
definitely like. Ooh, Jason, what's the name of your book? I need help.
Crazy Money by Jason Moore. It's on Amazon.
Are you
I
able?
have.
You know what? Oh, awesome.
Can I get that
Here's
close? Well, where's the camera?
There we go.
I don't know how to use phones. I'm too old. I
Ooh,
need help from kids.
if you can, real quick, send
Yeah.
me everything that they'd be able to get in contact with you, and I'll be able to put it in the show notes and everything. Cause
Oh yeah. I'll email it to you
yeah,
or text it or whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
cause
It's.
I think it's
I mean,
very beneficial.
pretty much everything is uh, something at Money Mixology. So info for if you want to email me, it's info at Money Mixology. If you want Instagram, YouTube, whatever, it's all at Money Mixology. So everything should have that same handle. But yeah, I'll certainly send it to you. And you can put it out there. And if to your viewers, like honestly, I do all this for free. This is a passion of mine. I just want to help people. So if you have specific questions that you weren't as comfortable putting on the show like this, which I fully understand, feel free to email it directly to me. Again, it's info at moneymixology.com. And I'll certainly do everything I can to try to help you out and send you whatever questions or answers you may need that I can give to you.
Awesome. I just have a few other comments. Greetings. Hello, Dr. Vibe. Hello. And Finding Purpose. Finding Purpose, you are the real
rock star
MVP.
today. Yeah.
I
Love
hope you posted there was a poll question up. So hopefully you answered it as well. They're talking about RSPs and TFSAs. So I have to say this to Finding Purpose. When you ask a question to Jason, try to make it a little bit relatable to Americans because we have different terminologies, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a little hard time with RSPs. That's not my deal.
I know, trust me. And we have a new one called FHSA, and the way it is tongue twisted, and I'm not used to it yet. I'm just like, I don't know why they use these letters. Yeah. And then Aisha, great information, thank you. And Dr. Vibe, I think he was mentioning cost of living. I think when I was talking about why people are having difficulties of saving.
Yeah, I get the argument. I mean, we definitely are having that debate here in the United States because our current fearless leader is driving up the cost of everything. And I mean, I'm sure it's somehow somebody else's fault, but that's beside the point. So while that is a true statement within reason, that unfortunately underscores the fact that people haven't been doing it all along. Right. So when you say that my current cost of groceries is the reason I'm not investing or savings or whatever, well, then that means your system's not automated. Right. I mean, I'm not immune to those grocery costs. I mean, I have kids, I have to go buy groceries, but my 401k, my Roths, my whatever, they're already fully funded through automation. So I don't feel it. I have to deal with it within the amount of money I have left. Right. And that's that comment I made about building your budget in a way that you can minimize the damage of your own stupidity. So, just while I certainly don't want to minimize people's pain or their suffering through this current economic issues, it does speak to the fact that your plan probably was not set up at its strongest point from the very beginning.
True. And like, I know there's like some folks, and I'm pretty sure you've experienced this. Is it lifestyle creep?
Lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation. Yeah, where you make more money and you crank up what you have. Yeah.
I think that's the time when maybe that's the most ideal time to actually retweak your budget is when all of a sudden like, whoa, I just got this bonus. Whoa, just got an increase in salary.
Yeah. Yeah. You also, the other thing to keep in mind is that inflation, or excuse me, lifestyle inflation,
Mhm.
is not a deal breaker in some ways. If your plan, again, if you set up to where you say, let's just use 20% of everything I make is going to go towards my savings, my retirement.
Mhm.
Well, then when you get your raise, it's just
Just
more,
still.
right? It's 20%
Yep.
of a bigger number. And so the lifestyle inflation is less impactful if you are setting your life up on an automated percentage basis, because it's okay if you get a slightly nicer car because your investments also got slightly more put into them as well. So, what happens is, to your point, when people don't do that and they get even if you're doing like a dollar based investment program where you're only putting, say, like, I'm going to put 5,000 a year into my retirement every year, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Well, the
Mhm.
problem is then I get my raise and I never increase the 5,000. Right. But if you're doing it as a percentage, it will
Mhm.
happen automatically because it's a percent of just a bigger number. So you should try your very best to set up investment programs and savings programs on a percentage basis, because then it'll go up and down naturally with what's happening. And if you end up getting something happens and you lose your second job, right? So your income drops. Well, it will naturally drop as well because it's percentage.
Indeed. Yes.
But you'll still be putting something away. It'll just be a smaller amount. So yeah, you should try your best within the constraints of what sort of account types you guys have access
Mhm.
to do percentage basis.
Yeah, percentage page is ideal. It's just, I guess, and I'll speak to the folks that are like freelancers or self-employed. It's kind of tricky to have flat rates because and especially at these times, there's always going to be that customer that's late, all right?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
is better to have it like percentage wise to be able to accommodate to that. And I don't know, I feel like so now that I'm thinking it like that, percentage wise, I think it's a little bit tricky when you automate it yourself. But like with the companies, like with their the pension matching, that's like
Yeah, so
clockwork, right?
if you're putting money in from your like checking account into your savings account, you're right. It's going to
Mhm.
be a little tougher to do percentage. That's probably a valid statement,
Yeah.
because there's ways to do it. But yes, I agree with you there. If you're just going to say, hey, every Friday I'm going to move $100 into my savings account, it's going to be hard to do a percentage because you're not going to know what that number is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm specifically speaking more to like the long term sort of investment style stuff.
True, 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 true. So
Yeah.
that works ideally. And I'm looking out. You still have a chance to ask, but I have questions too. Um, I actually have a question I usually ask each and every guest. What are 3 things you wish you knew about money earlier in your journey? I know you have 20 no, whoa, not 20
Oh,
decades. Sorry, 2
20,
decades.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, not yet. Yeah, my kids think I do, but yeah. Um,
2 decades in this game.
yeah,
More than.
so I mean, in terms of my financial journey, right? If you want to say 18, I've
Mhm.
got, I've got 30 years, but um, I think one thing I learned, I didn't learn till probably 10, almost 30 years old, so 10 years into my journey, that I wish I would have known, or I knew it, but I wish I would have understood it better. It was that my parents, for example, are very, very frugal. They are what
Mhm.
I call all defense players, right?
Mm.
My dad made a good living. He certainly had a nice job and made, decent money, but they built their wealth by being frugal. They played all defense. And I tried that for the first 10 years and I was terrible at it. And so I started to really understand when I reached about 30 years old that I was better at offense. And
Okay.
I would have a better future and a better way to build my own life if I was willing to go the way that was best for me. And for me, not that I certainly don't want to be wasting money and do none of that nonsense, but I don't want to be hyper frugal. I don't want to clip coupons, that kind of stuff. I'll just go make more money. I'll be good at offense. And so I got a lot
Mhm.
of degrees and I got jobs that pay well, so that I could have nice things, not have to play quite as much defense, but still be able to put money away. So my point to the listeners is there's multiple ways to reach the final journey. You have to do it in the way that fits you best,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
understand that there are different paths to that final result. So that was one of them. Um, I also think that I really, really wish I would have taken time to understand my own triggers when I was younger, right? As an immature male,
Mm.
which we don't mature till we're like 60 or whatever, but uh, so at some point I'll get there. But
Oh, joy.
but I think that at 20 years old, I would have been far better off if I had understood when these things happen, I have a tendency to make bad decisions, whatever
Mhm.
those things are. And if I would have understood those earlier, if I'd have taken the time to think through them, and that's what I would encourage your listeners to do. If I would have taken a step back and really done some self evaluation, I would have avoided a lot of bad decisions along the way because I would have just not put myself in those situations, right? I would have known the trigger was happening and been able to manage my way around it.
Mhm.
Um, and then I think the final piece, the number three thing would be that I, unfortunately, like many people, viewed money as the ultimate goal, right? If I just had more money, I'd be happy,
Mhm.
and did not understand that that's never ever true. It just doesn't work that way, and it's not.
Mhm.
I'm not saying. I'm not even trying to say this in some sort of spiritual, humble, like, be nice to the world kind of thing. That's not what I mean at all. I mean, very literally, from a psychological perspective, money cannot make you happy. The things money buys and the experiences you can have with money are what make you happy. And so, if you can recognize that and put money in its proper place, it's just a hammer. So,
Yeah.
sometimes I have to pick up the hammer and use it, other times I don't. And so, if you can do that, then you'll have a much better perspective on where you're trying to go with the money. Like, because there's going to be things that make me happy in my life that don't cost money,
Yeah.
and so, um, but there are times that to be happy, I need money, right? Like if I want to rent a jet ski, I need money, right? Like or whatever.
Exactly.
And so, I just think I wish I would have had a better perspective on the role that money genuinely plays in making you happy. It's not the money that makes you happy, it's the stuff it can bring to your life
Mhm.
if you do it properly. But when you start to make money the goal, you're going to have a really hard time because humans are not it's not something we can believe in. It's something we can drive towards. If
Mhm.
you tell me that next year I get to go on a vacation to Europe, that's something I actually want. I can drive towards. It will take money to do that. And
Yes.
so I will go out and do everything in my power to earn the money, but for the purpose of going to Europe, not because I want $1,000. That's such a random, like, that's not even a real thing, right? And
Mm.
so trying to help people understand that to focus their life around the experiences and the things that they want, the money will
Mhm.
be the tool that helps you get there.
Mhm. Jason, that I don't think I've ever heard anyone discuss about that, like, to be obviously, because you're a psychologist of money and stuff, right?
A little
Financial
differently, yeah.
sorry, financial therapist. Um, it's the fact that you said understanding your money triggers, and I think for I'm in I'm in awe with you even saying that, and I'm hopefully there's someone that's listening to this and is able to be like, dang, I really wish I understood my money triggers when I was younger as well, because obviously there are decisions that we've made, myself included,
Or none of us are immune.
right? That have done, and it's like, what a
Well, I
silly
mean,
I think.
I want your listeners to hear one really core message, which is that all of the rules of your life that you have been taught growing up. So, we are very, very accustomed to the fact that the way we parent, the teams that we root for, the
Mhm,
church we go to, the
mhm,
friends that we have, all of that is very highly dictated and based on our culture, our
mhm,
upbringing, our family background. Money does not get to play by its own set of rules.
mhm.
Money is just as subject to all of those things as everything else is, right? And
Yes.
so if you because of that, like it would be very, very normal for somebody to say, hey, I have learned the triggers. Like I'm in a relationship, and if the
Mhm,
other person does this,
mhm,
I know that I'm going to react. I'm going to be triggered by
mhm.
that event. And we take steps to protect against that, right?
Yes.
That's very normal in our way of thinking about the world.
Mhm,
Money should be the same. Money does not get its own set of rules. the psychology that applies to every other part of your life applies to money. It's
Me
that
too.
simple.
Yep. Yep. You're absolutely right. And I have another individual. Hello, Frequency Event Promotions. Just wondering which lovely guest this is. You have to watch the replay since you're coming in late.
Yeah.
And he
Welcome to the
also
game.
said,
Yeah, right.
he also said money can buy you happiness, but it can. I think he said money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy what I want. Indeed,
Right.
indeed.
And again, that person is absolutely correct. The happiness is
Mhm.
coming from the thing or the
Yes.
event or the experience or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
It's not the money. The
Yes.
money is the tool, right? If you
Mhm.
want to live in a house, right? The hammer is not the house. The hammer is what builds the house.
Mhm.
And so we have to put money in its proper place. It is the tool. That's
Yes.
it. And when you hear people say, well, money made that guy a jerk. No, it didn't. He was a jerk who now has money, right? Like, money doesn't change people. It accentuates who they already are. Money is just a tool. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Don't worry. I'll kind of be a jerk when I make that 5 million.
I'm willing to be changed.
And hopefully no one hears this really. It's just kind of wild when someone thinks you're the bank or the ATM, but you're like, I'm not even at the position that I want to be. But hey, when I get to that position, cool. But I don't know. Maybe when I get to that number, I'll be that jerk.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other danger with using money as the target because it will always move, right? As you
Yes.
get
Oh,
more,
yes.
you will think you need more if you have not anchored the money to the actual things or experiences you want,
Mhm.
right? That's the story of my father for retirement. There was this
Yeah.
number that kept getting bigger, but he lost sight of what is retirement actually going to be for you? What are you
True.
going to do? What are you going to own? What kind of experiences do you want to have? Had he done a better job of recognizing and naming those things, he would have realized I don't need this dollar figure in the sky. I
Mhm.
can do these things with what I have now. So
Yeah.
because the reality is if you think 5 million will make you happy, when you get to 4.5 million, you're like, well, 6 million would make me happy, or 7 million or whatever, right? That's just
Ooh.
never going to be, because that's not something we can anchor into. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
anything to us. We
Yeah.
have to translate the money to real experiences, real things, so that we know it's something that will actually make us happy.
And I'm thinking back to what you said about your dad, as his pattern was being frugal. And imagine being frugal and you're just now like, man, I didn't even have to be as frugal as I was when I reached
Yeah.
retirement.
And they also struggled. Both my parents, not struggle, it's probably not the
Mm.
right word because they're doing very well, but
Mhm.
in the sense struggling with, they're retired now and they have all the money in the world, but they don't know
Mhm.
how to spend it because they've been
Mm.
frugal for 50 years. And so
Yeah.
they've conditioned themselves,
Golly.
and the frugal was good for them. It was their way of doing things, but we all have these challenges when we make these transitions in life, that we have to sort of rethink it a little bit. I mean, I will have sort of the opposite problem. Even if I retire with a bunch of money, I will no longer have my fairly large salary coming in, right? So this, I have to be consciously aware that I can't play as much offense as I
Mhm.
have my whole life. So I'm going to have to make some adjustments there.
Yeah.
So those transitions can also be a little bit touchy from a psychological perspective.
True. And I also, Frequency Event Promotion says, I like your guest's way of thinking. Thank you. And we have Minnie on cam saying, hey, hey. I don't see if Frequency Event Promotions, if you're here earlier, you would have known. Does your guest have a book? Yes. So Jason does have a book. He has Crazy Monies. And also, what's the other one? The first one?
First one's authentic, but that's not about money. That's about career stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to know about careers as well, he has.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to
if you do a
show
search on
everything.
Amazon, you'll see both. So it's not rocket science. Yeah.
And Minnie on cam said I can spend it for them, based on your parents'
Right.
retired money.
Yeah. It's you forget my parents' money. Yeah. I always joke with them because, like, yeah, I mean, I'm like, you guys don't need to learn how to spend this. You can just give it to your son. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I am a financial planner. I'll help you with this. I'll help you figure out how to give it to me in the most tax efficient way possible. Yeah. To the person who said they like my way of thinking, I appreciate that. That makes one of you. So,
It doesn't include
could,
his family.
correct. I was gonna say, could you please call my wife? Yeah. Yes, that is. I don't get to hear that very well at home, so I might stay on this thing forever.
See, we like to give you positive.
This is good for my mental health. Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh. And also, wait, hold on. There's a question. Okay. Let's see. A family just donated 50 million to to change a hospital name, so spending is happening out there.
Wow.
That one is interesting because
I
heard your.
I want to know what the 50 million went for. I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess if you got it, I mean, do what you want with it, I suppose. But it's hard because again, we're all applying. So for the listeners, in psychology, there's a term called utility. Utility is the value you place on things, not the dollar figure, the value you internally place on it. We're all right now, every single person heard that $50 million and we all said what we would do with $50 million, right? We placed our own utility on it. That's kind of unfair because we don't know what their utility was for it, but it seems crazy to me. But again, like if I had $1 billion, right, then maybe 50 million to have my name on a hospital doesn't seem as crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Golly. I just feel like that's because I've heard your good old president. He's fantastic. Trying to change a name. I think
the Kennedy Center,
the airport. Yeah.
Oh, the airport. Ronald Reagan Center. Yeah, in DC. Yeah.
Wow. I think it's like an ego boost type of sensor.
You think? I can give you the answer to that one. Yeah. I listen. So just for your listeners out there, I just apologize on the fact that on behalf of all the stars and stripes, our bad. So it's that simple.
Oil. Yeah. My oil stocks are kind of up to par.
God, yeah. If you happen to get on oil early, yeah. God,
or
what is happening?
Gold, I think.
We're idiots.
And then frequency event promotion says frugal versus living a life planned. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, I want to be clear. I'm not using frugal in a negative connotation. I think the word itself gets a little bit like people are like, oh, he's frugal. Like I don't mean that at all. You can be overly frugal. I think you can take it too far where you're just kind of miserly and penny pinching, but that was not my parents. I mean, my parents were like, if I needed something for sports, they always paid for it. Like there's nothing like that. They were not penny pinchers. Yeah. They were just, I think this person probably said it well. This was their life plan. They had a way that they wanted to approach building wealth, and it was being very, very cautious with their spending, far more than I would normally be myself. And so, but what's interesting is my brother and sister took after my parents. They are more on the frugal side, and
there's always one of them.
Yeah, I'm in almost every way. Yeah, somehow I'm the outcast, but so I think it can come off as negative. I do not mean that at all. You're right. It was their plan for life, and it was I needed, for my own sake, my own psychology, my own way of doing things, I needed to have a different life plan because it wasn't working to try to walk their path. And I think that was a really important piece. And I think it's important for young people to understand. I mean, if my 3 children, if one or all of them took the frugal path, I'd be okay with that. As long as it was their path, right? They don't have to. And I have 2 sons that are both 18, and one of them is much more frugal and doesn't really want to. I don't want to say he doesn't want to work as hard. That seems a little unfair to him, but he's not the like hard driving, just I'm going to go get it all the time kind of thing. So he'll have to be a little more frugal. My other son is absolutely a working machine. I mean, he makes a lot of money. He works all the time because he wants to be a spender. He wants to be able to buy things. I'm like, okay, well then the trade-off is you have to work a lot. And
offense. So,
play offense. And so, the guest or the person in the chat is absolutely right. It is your life plan. That's the key, is it has to be what you're comfortable with and what you can stick with over time.
Yeah. And just, I guess the only thing is just make sure you don't burn out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's another piece of it, right? I mean, both any path you choose, you have to be cautious. If you're going to be the all offense, hard driving, hard worker, you can burn out.
Yeah.
If you're going to be the frugal, saver, conservative, really fiscally tight kind of person, then you may miss out on things. You may not get to buy the things you would have made yourself happy with. You may miss out on the vacation, or you may tell your friends, I can't go on that trip with you because I'm trying, you just both sides have cautions they have to be careful of. You can take anything too far.
That's
Right.
true.
I mean, we have in the United States, we have Republicans, and then you have MAGA. Like, you can go too far, and then you have Democrats, and then you have like the crazy liberals, right? Like, so anything can go too far. I mean, that's in any situation.
Absolutely. Hold on, I got a question for you in the live chat. Ooh, frequency event promotions. You're trying to step up. You're trying to get finding
coming in
purpose.
Late, coming in hot.
Where are you? You have to come back and ask questions. He asked, what would you like for money not to do for you?
Define your self-worth. So if you, I'm going to grossly self-promote here. If you watch my podcast that will be coming out this Wednesday, I record on Mondays or Tuesdays and launch on Wednesday mornings. The episode this week is on what's called the provider bias. So it is a tendency of high achievers to view their net worth as their self-worth. To believe that the only value I provide to my family, to the world, to the people around me is my income, is what I can do. And so you never want money to define who you are as a person. And I openly acknowledge, and you will see this on the episode, this is the strongest bias that I suffer from, Jason. I have spent most of my life viewing my value to my family, my value to the people around me as what I can give them, what I'm able to provide from an income perspective, from the lifestyle I can give them. And that is of no doing of their own. They do not view it that way. They will openly say, no, I just want my dad or whatever. But it is something I struggle with, and males have historically struggled with it far worse, but females are beginning to catch up in the research because now you're part of the workforce, right? So as a bigger and bigger bulk of females join the high income workforce, it's natural that this bias is going to begin to seep its way in. And so I would caution the males, it's already very strong in our psychology, and I would caution the females that you have to prevent it from becoming part of yours. But that's one of the things money can be. It's not that the money's not bad. It's just you as a human are worth everything without any money. You have innate worth. You don't need the money to define that.
I totally agree with you, and I'm definitely gonna check out that, because I do see that, in Instagram and social media and all that stuff, they do mention that, oh, if it wasn't for my money, I wouldn't be valuable. I have to be this 6-figure person, or no one's ever gonna love me. I do feel like that's sad, or even the ladies that are seeing how they are portrayed or viewed when it comes to how much money they're making, or the breadwinner and stuff, and they have to keep this facade and stuff. My heart goes out to everyone. You are more than your salary.
You are enough as you are. Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I like that. Hold on, there's a comment or two. Okay, so Mini on Cam. Yes, the different path. I'm on a disability working towards financial independence. So many outsiders don't know the struggles or the mindset shift that happens. She'd be a great person to contact as well for her podcast. She has a podcast as well. We actually have the same name, but mine's with a K, hers with a C.
Okay.
But I have to say it like this so we don't get confused. Right?
Yeah.
And then 2 of 2, poverty by policy designed to jump to freedom is a roller coaster while managing health challenges.
Sure.
And it's nothing compared to you guys, obviously, because if you're sick in the States,
you're bankrupt. Yeah.
The amount of times that I've heard the funding, or not funding, the cost of certain things, I'm like,
Yeah, like 89% of bankruptcies in the United States are medical based. They
golly.
cause almost 90% of our bankruptcies are medical bills. Yeah, it's
It's-
ludicrous. Yes.
So I understand why people do OnlyFans.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And
I have the
also
face
she's
for radio, so I can't do it. But yeah.
and she also said people with disability learn very quickly money is not defining thing for worth. True. She also said
A positive way to look at it.
Mhm. Because when you become disabled, you're pushed out of the hamster wheel.
Yeah, that's sad. I wish that wasn't the case for you.
Yeah.
But I would say um, I applaud your healthy approach that, it's one of the things the rest of us could probably learn, that,
Mhm.
you have innate value. The money doesn't define you.
Exactly.
That's, yeah, I like her perspective on that, or
Yeah.
his. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah.
If male or female.
Oh, her.
Oh, her. Okay.
And then frequency event promotions.
Oh
Also,
my, this person, I love him. Love
he's
him.
like, well, I came in late, so I got to do something.
Gotta make up time here.
Add value.
Like a student that show up 10 minutes before class is over.
And those are the ones that actually still get like 80% off.
Yeah, the test. You're like, oh god, what's happening?
When you spend money, what is one word that would best describe your spending? Ooh, look at you. Okay, Chris.
For clarification, are you asking like when I do, Jason? When Jason spends money?
Yes, when Jason spends money.
I would hope to be able to say it's thoughtful. That's probably the best way to approach it. I would not say it's intelligent because I do lots of dumb things, but I have conditioned myself to be mindful of my purchasing. So that would be the word I would use, probably be mindful or thoughtful, however you want to say that.
Yeah.
But I would also encourage that to be something that people aim for. Again, it does not mean you don't buy things you want. It does not mean that you don't spend money, none of that stuff, but you should be mindful of it. Be aware of what you're doing, and just give it some thought. And that's where, again, from the when did we start talking? 4 hours ago or whatever. That cooling off period, I think, is really important. It will help you be mindful. It will help you think better and more carefully and more soberly about your decisions if you take a step back and cool down a little bit and be thoughtful about the approach.
These are some solid questions and solid advice. Golly, hold on. One more. Disability. I gotta read it here. Disability has its own hamster wheel, but it's set up by policy and design for poverty. Example, the American system seems to think 2,000 of assets is acceptable.
Oh, yeah. So this person's referring to our Medicare, Medicaid system. We have a completely ludicrous system. Nobody's understood this yet. And so what happens is you can't get you get none or reduced assistance from the government if you have over a certain amount of assets. This person's referring to specifically a Medicaid restriction. If you have so many assets, you can't get disability coverage, disability assistance, which is insane, because then if that disabled person goes and gets a job and is building up wealth like the rest of us, then they get punished, which is stupid. And so Camille, I think, I'm sorry, the screen is for everybody who's watching this, I apologize. I'm on a phone and it's like 9,000 feet away from me, so I can't see it. But so you are absolutely correct. There is a structural problem with our system. It's the same exact thing that happens for our retirees. If you want to go on to our long-term care program, like in a nursing home or whatever, you have to just liquidate everything you've ever owned in your whole life. So you spend 50 years building up all these assets, and then you have to just basically nuke them before the government will help you get into a long-term care facility. So we do have this person is absolutely correct. We have structural deficiencies that are just stupid, that they harm people because we're all idiots down here. So, but
don't worry, to help you out.
Will fix it. Trump will fix it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he'll fix it.
I'll be. Don't worry. In here, like in Canada, it's kind of the same concept with the long-term care. Like, I just got an understanding because, like, what I had, another story, because I have like tons of stories, because I've been like doing 20 taxes each day, right? Like there was one couple, not couple, the daughter and the dad came and they're like, yeah, so my parents separated, got divorced. And I'm here like, is everything okay? Like he's like 80. Why did you guys decide to
They did
split?
it for the finance.
They did it for the
Yep.
finance, and I
Yep.
was so confused. At first I was like,
Oh, we have tons of people here who don't get married because they'll lose a pension, right? Like, so you have a widow who, if
yeah,
she remarries, she'll lose the pension, so they
Yep.
just live in sin, or whatever you want to call it. It's such a stupid term, but yeah. So I mean, like, that stuff happens all the time. That's just where, again, policy fails us, because it's just, those are ridiculous. But
it is outrageous. Like the way that they were talking, and the daughter was sounding so like, yeah, so I'm just doing her taxes and the dad's here, and I'm like, are you sure you want me to do the taxes together? Because they might have bad blood. And they're like, no, we're like,
oh no, they love each other. You're like, what? Yeah, it's just insane. Yeah.
it's just anything to like be able to survive, right? And Christopher said, last question for Jason. Are you sure? Are you sure? Oh, see, I see. So he says, what, when it's said and done, what should money have done for a person's life? I think it would be the same thing.
It should have left the impact on the world you wanted it to. So it is one of the most, I mean, not one of, it is the most important thing money can do in your life, is to make the world better around you in whatever way you believe it should. And so if that is helping your church, great. If that is helping your kids go to the best college in the world that they can get into, that's great too. Like, I don't care as a financial planner. What I care about is that the money became the tool you wanted it to be. And so I'm a really, really big legacy person. I think that, we're all going to pass away and mean nothing in 10 years. And what will last is the difference we make while we're here. And so whatever way that happens to be. And so I think you want to use the money in a positive way to make a difference for those around you.
Wow. Nice. And Jason, you're gonna feel nice again. Minnie on Cam says, lovely. I like him. He understands both sides of the wealth ladder. You are just getting praise left, right, and
thank
center
you.
here.
Yeah, this place is great. I'm never leaving. Oh, by the way, just quick side note to everybody that's out there and you. I'm recording this on my phone, and my
is about to
that you
got
see
it,
goes,
got it.
well, I have no idea. So if I just disappear, it's not because I don't like all of you. It's because my iPhone decided enough is enough. So I can't see my battery, so I have no idea. I am living on the edge here.
We like living on the edge a little. That's why I had to plug my laptop in before. I was like, ooh, I can't take that time.
No, listen, I've told your listeners, I'm an idiot. I drove all the way over here. I live about 20 minutes from the campus. So I'm in my office at the university. I drove over here to record this because this is where all my setup is. Forgot my computer and my key to my office. So I had to like break in from the side. So like I'm completely just squatting in my own office right now. This is insane. So I apologize. I could just die out at some point. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're good right now. So.
Oh man, awesome. And one of my last questions. So just before you kaput and watch it happen, because the universe is great.
Yeah.
What's next on your agenda other than the podcast? And I'm definitely gonna you have a new subscriber.
Oh, awesome.
And what's like the next projects that you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of goofy you asked me that on given today. So just a couple days ago, I got suckered into buying a gym, and so just because but this goes back to the question about what you do with money. The gym is actually literally called Legacy, which is kind of funny, but touché. I've been there for like 16 years, and it was going to close, and I desperately wanted my local small town community to still have the gym. And so I bought it, and we're going to invest in it. And I'll never make any money off it. I just want it to be good for the people around me, for my community. And so that's literally what I was doing today, was cleaning toilets and showers, which is definitely what I woke up wanting to do today. And so, so that's going on. And then I'm actually completely randomly, my real job, I oversee school districts in Ohio. So I have
Okay.
60 some schools that we oversee.
Mhm.
And the Department of Education, when Ohio brought in financial literacy to the high schools
Nice.
in Ohio,
Yes.
which we have now as a requirement, which is good. I
Woohoo!
was the person they brought in to sort of be the technical
Facilitate.
guidance on that kind of stuff. Yeah, the expert
Nice.
or whatever, which that's use that term loosely with me. But and so they're wanting to develop a standardized curriculum for that. So I'm going to be going
Mm,
back to the state house and doing some work, trying to
nice.
help kind of flesh that out a little bit and figure out what should these young people be learning. So I'll be involved in some of that stuff on the education side. And then
Mhm.
my daughter is begging me to do a third book, but I think she's insane.
Mhm.
So I might, I'll be like, it's your turn to do one.
Exactly.
So I actually thought about trying to co-write one with her, but I don't know what it would be.
Do
I would
it.
let her do the
Do
writing
it.
because she's really good. But
Yeah,
yeah, so something just kind of keeping the adventures going and that kind of stuff.
that's
And then
amazing. Mm.
hopefully being back on your show at
Heck
some
yeah,
point in the
because
future. Yeah,
a lot of
this
these
is fun.
folks is definitely fun. Like honestly, I'm glad that I was able to like cater to the Americans, Canadians, and anyone else in the
Yeah,
world.
I'll go brush
Um,
up on RSP
yeah.
stuff so I can answer the questions next time.
I'll
Yeah,
definitely give you a little tutorial on that because like I'm so glad that you like messaged me. You literally guys, literally the money mixology was the key thing that helped with like getting you here because it was just a great choice of words. I
the
like
name. Yeah,
yeah, when people like play with words and stuff, and just like you being a CFP and psychology of money, that is like the key thing that I like to express to folks to have them to have a better understanding. And now I have to see if I can, look at that in the schooling here because I think it's really important to know
yeah,
the behavior of money and the
yeah,
psychology of money. Um,
yeah.
guys,
You're
if
the listeners. Building wealth is about behavior. It's that
Mhm.
simple. I cannot stress that enough. If you want to become wealthy, you must master your behavior and your habits, not the knowledge. Experts can give you the knowledge. We
Mhm.
cannot give you behaviors and habits. You
Yeah.
must master that part. Also, I'll just throw this out there.
Mhm.
Given what's going on down here south of the border,
Yeah.
I might be Canadian by the time we have the next phone call. So,
Oh yeah, I heard about that. One of my friends were like, "Oh, we're cousins." I was like, "What the heck are you talking about?" Like, "Oh, we
yeah,
could get dual
I'll
citizenship."
just
I'm like,
move to Canada. So if one of your listeners, I mean, if they liked what I had to say, maybe they could give me a room to live in because I'm gonna see. We're gonna see if I can get. Yeah. Ugh, yeah.
we definitely have a lot of room because there's many condos and stuff being built up. So, welcome, neighbor.
Right. Exactly. Move across the pond, the lake. I
Right?
guess in my case, move across Lake Erie.
The lake,
Goodness.
the
Yeah.
Mitt. I think, Mission.
Yeah. Yeah. For
That's
me,
it.
it'd be Lake Erie, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll just paddle over if we have to at this point. Put my family on our canoe. And
And look what Minnie just said. I do get a referral fee for bringing in new tenants.
That's right. There you go. Yeah.
So come on down.
That's right. Yeah. I'll definitely have to learn about RSP at that point if I'm switching pension system. Yeah.
Right? And then Christopher said, bonus, what's your favorite color? I'm gonna assume blue, but I could be wrong.
This is this is a huge bone of contention for my wife and I. So it has been, I typically wear all black, like all the time, not like gothic style. Like I just like
Mhm.
black, but in the last like 6 months or something, I think I've realized that I actually look better in navy. And so either that or I'm just colorblind. I don't know.
It
The answer
works.
to the question is used to be black, probably navy now. So yeah, but yeah, blue. Yeah, I do like blue. Yeah, very random question. Yeah, I also like pizza. Does that matter? Do you care what food I like?
Pizza, yum yum yum. And guys, if you want to reach Jason, please. I have his email, I have his podcast. I'm also gonna share your book in the Amazon as soon in the show notes and
Oh, thank
everything.
you. Yeah.
And Jason, honestly, it's been if you
This has
only
been a
knew
blast.
how the day well, you know what? I feel like your day and my day were similar.
I was cleaning toilets. Like, calm down.
And I was dying. And I was like, Oh my gosh. All I need is to survive 2 seconds so I can actually do this podcast. And it's been
2.5 hours.
2.5
Well,
hours of amazingness.
not since the one guy got here. He got here like 15 minutes ago. But for everybody else, it's been 2.5 hours. So
I know, but big up yourself.
Yeah.
But like, is there anything else you'd want to tell the folks before we run? You try to get your phone charged and stuff.
No, I think no, I don't think so. I think I just again, please, for everyone out there, if you have questions or specific questions to your circumstance that are not Canadian specific, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you. I respond as quick as I can. That email gets routed directly into my personal email eventually, so I can get it right away. I'll do everything I can. And if you bring me back on the show, I will have my computer so I can actually see everybody and read the questions that are on here.
Yes.
And I will try not to break into my own office next time, but
as long as you can lock it after.
That's right. I don't care. They'll figure that out. That's somebody else's problem. But yeah. So no, I sincerely appreciate you having me on. This has been a blast. Yeah, it's been super fun. This is pretty casual and fun, and I hope people learn some stuff. Yeah.
Right. And like from what I see in the comments, everyone's loving it, and I'm great with a part 2, and we can talk about anything.
Yeah,
and obviously we can talk about everything for like hours and hours. And
I will go study the RSP and stuff, and then that way I can come back and give an honest answer of what I'm talking about. But, yeah. No, I mean, maybe that's where we finish. If people, if this topic was interesting to you, if sort of the psychology of the finances was cool and different for you, send your questions to Camille. And things you want us to cover. And then as soon as we have another, whatever it may be, 8 or 10 questions or something, then I'll come back on and we'll ignore those 10 and talk about whatever for 4 hours again.
Absolutely. Like, honestly, I think it's funny. Like, a person like myself loves to talk about personal finance.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like personal finance and investing. Once I hear someone say, "Oh yeah," I'm like, really?
Go
you?
Time. Yeah. What? That's like sports for some people. Well, and I'll bring my wife on, and she'll bring the entire mood down. She'll be like, my wife is amazing, but all she ever wants to talk about is true crime. So she's like, "Oh my God, finance is so boring. Why does anybody listen to you?" I was like, "I have no idea."
Well, you're like, true crimes. Are you trying to kill me in my sleep?
Everybody out there, yes, use this podcast as evidence. If I come up dead, she did it. But you will never figure out how. So just don't even bother. It'll be the most well played out thing ever. So
and I don't know what you guys call it. Golly, that's the only one I don't know what you guys call it. So we have our RDSP, which is Registered Disability Savings Plan.
No. We call that fend for yourself. We don't. we do not care about people down here.
Oh my God.
No. That's what? No. Like, would this help anyone who doesn't look exactly like this human right here looks? And we don't care, and we're not interested. So, yeah, no.
So apparently, you guys have the Able account.
We do have the Able accounts. Yeah, I mean, that's a correct statement. Yeah, I mean, you can't. Sure, fine. You want to use the Able accounts. We're not super interested. I mean, candidly, I would say, I'm not trying to be funny here. I don't even know that we don't have a coherent, cohesive way to save money here. We have lots of good things like 401ks or IRAs, but it's like sort of just this big puzzle, and you have to like kind of understand it all. It's not very cohesive at all unless you happen to have a government pension. But and the Able accounts would kind of fall into that. Like, most people don't even know they exist, even if they have disability. It's just kind of this weird, like, college savings is a totally different thing. And so we just don't do a great job of that. Yeah.
Man, like, I love how you phrased it. Jason, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I love my country, but we are a bunch of numbnuts down here. So, yeah, I always I travel all over the world. I love travel; it's my favorite thing to do. And I go and like I'll be in Europe and they're like, "What is going on in your country?" I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. Like, why does anyone look to us for advice?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, we're a disaster.
Oh my gosh. See, guys, we could go for hours.
Yeah.
And I just know I wanna kind of eat, and I know you want to eat too, probably pizza at least.
Yeah, pizza, definitely pizza. Yeah, I'll get it on my way home. Yeah.
But Jason,
But
honestly, it's been a pleasure. I'm
this
so
has
grateful.
been so fun. Yes, I appreciate you having me
Yeah.
on, and I look forward to our next adventure, our next rodeo.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
and
send questions in to me or to Camille, either one, and then we'll tackle it in due time.
absolutely, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and send us the questions,
Right.
and then subscribe. Wow, subscribe. See, it's because I'm usually by myself that it will work.
Where it is. Let's do this. Yeah.
It will work either way, guys.
It's like, do you remember the movie Aladdin, the original Disney one?
Yep.
Exits here, anywhere.
But honestly, for a gentleman that is honestly, I was like, man, his voice is so nice. And then I saw you and it was like, look, he's tatted up. He's a normal human being. Awesome. We're gonna have a great night.
He's just as dumb as the rest of us. Yeah. So I should have. I should have asked when they said, "What's the best use of money?" I should have been like, obviously tattooing. But yeah, I failed. Sorry, I missed the opportunity.
Next time.
Next time, right? So,
but yes, thank you so
No
much,
problem.
Jason. And folks, please watch the replay, ask the questions. This topics, like these are the topics that I love to talk about, and because it's Financial Literacy Month in the States, I'm glad that we were able to talk about it.
yes,
So,
thank you so much.
That's
So
both worlds.
we will see all of you later.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Peace out.
I just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see?